tribal and less intelligence to create the bureaucracy. So
Well,
there's a lot of
that's not fair. Actually, from my understanding, people back in the day all had the same level of intelligence. It was lack of information as we have now from the sciences and all. But I'm pretty sure they'd still have social dynamics and all kinds of issues in their own form of bureaucracy. So it's not necessarily fair because oftentimes people, however many thousands of years ago, what have you, are often viewed at as lesser by modern society. It's part of the failings of our current culture is to always look back and say, well, we're smarter now. Well, we know certain things now, maybe more in sciences and some aspects, but we're not necessarily actually more intelligent. And it gives us this form of belief that we're protected from the mistakes of the past because of it. And look at what's happening in America right now. It is very clearly being shown, no, we are not. We are not that much more involved. We are not that much smarter. We are not that much more protected from the trappings that we see in history, dangerously so. And it has been as far back as I can remember. It's been a little while since I read this, but it is scientifically been shown that people are actually more or less the same level of intelligence. Again, it's just the information we have.
I disagree. The Flynn effect shows that IQ goes up 10 points every 10 years in the United States. But then also I think intelligence and information and communication are all linked together. And I would say maybe we aren't as wise as we should be. We don't necessarily use the intelligence and the information in the ways they need to be used. But we are more intelligent than we were. We definitely were not making rocket ships. And there was benefit to relinquishing empathy when hunting, which we all had to do.
To a certain degree,
I think narcissism is about control.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
And I like the conversations y'all are having. I have many ideas on this. It's very intriguing.
Awesome.
Relinquishing empathy. I think we're ready to move beyond apathy and beyond, not having empathy. I think it's time to move beyond that. But I can see how there could have been evolutionary, sociological evolutionary.
I think authenticity and narcissism are opposed. Basically, that's my thinking. They are absolutely opposed. Like actually,
I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think narcissism is good.
No.
Well, no. Honestly,
what's the subject y'all are discussing, by the way?
A lot.
I mean,
bit of a rabbit trail here.
Yeah, it seems to be. Is the intellect the same as now compared to back then?
And like I said, the information we have is different. Sure, we have quantum physics, whereas X amount of years ago, we did not. We have computer sciences, as before we did not. So information obviously is different. But I'm talking about intelligence.
I agree with both of y'all, to be honest.
More comprehension.
I think intelligence
of the
is
world
just the brain.
No.
I kind of feel like as a species, we've grown slightly intelligent, but we have so many distractions and so many things going on. We don't know how to use the tools around us to actually utilize our, advantages.
And I think we've always had this.
Exactly. I agree. And that's getting in touch with yourself and knowing thyself.
Yeah, quite an important thing that I really do wish was standardized education in schools. Honestly, if people say,
I say that all the time. I think kindergartners should learn about their emotions first before anything else.
We need the integration of psychology into our social systems.
I completely agree. Yes. I've talked to Patrick about this many times.
It's like a
we were talking about this the other day. They're saying it's like when you train children to be emotionally aware, that's crime prevention. That's preventing future crimes, and also good psychology, good mental health. If you don't, then you're leaving it all to the parent.
The more tools you have, the younger you are, the more you can
need smart
evolve.
people in power. Just saying, we got fucking idiots.
No, I agree. I was just listening to a lecture, and it was Ram Dass actually, and he was talking about we have too many people that have knowledge but no actual wisdom.
Yeah. Yes, that too.
Actually, it's not even just that. I mean, apparently, God, these days almost anything you hear is politicized and therefore difficult to take at face value. But
of course, everything's a bit of everything.
Right. But apparently there's been a study that shows that more than 50% of Americans read at a 6th grade reading level, which is a horrific
Which is the complete, like show to what I was just saying. Like we have so many things and we're so smart, but we're so dampened by the things that we use with our habitual use and our dopamine and serotonin input. We just don't know how to utilize our chemical systems that we naturally have.
Yeah, but did we ever really fully have that ability, or was humanity
I
always
agree. And I'm hoping we get to a point where we can evolve, where we can give more people these tools.
Agreed.
Yeah, I was going to ask about this too, man. I know you researched this a bit. So, do you think narcissism can be treated with psychopharmacological, custom-made psychopharmacological, or just what we have now, where we're treating PTSD with MDMA and other newly legalized substances?
I think anything's possible with psychedelics, man.
The breakthrough moment seems to be most applicable and most necessary in the case of NPD or narcissism, because they're not going to get it from other people. It has to be this shattering of the conscious perception, this temporary allowing
some type of experience.
Brain. Like there's these blocks between areas of the brain that need to be talking, and the psychedelics.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have that until an experience. Not even psychedelics alone. Some people have life-altering experiences, whatever it may be, that impacts their brain thinking.
I think the research is limited.
A lot of times we'll be hitting rock bottom or something that's more existentially impactful.
For sure. Because then they have to actually sit in the feelings in the puddle that they've been avoiding the whole time.
I think the research is still open, and there's like not much of it, but like so far it shows that it helps for a little while.
Yeah, it's a tool, man. It shows, in my opinion, of course. I mean, I think it's a tool, but farther into my opinion.
No, I think
I believe it's just up to you after.
For like a couple weeks. It doesn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they don't utilize the tools it gives them, or like the thought change process, I guess you could say, that's, if they could fall back into their own habits that lead to them to that thought process, then yeah,
even psychedelics.
Yeah, no, you're completely correct, man. It's just a tool.
And I've seen psychedelics amplify bullshit.
Oh yeah, man, especially people that set and setting, and then there's schizophrenia, and you could talk farther into that. People shouldn't be touching it. SSRI.
Yeah, psychosis. Like the microdosing is probably more promising because it's reinforcing. So what you're exposed to in those highly sensitive settings will reinforce. That's why it's so important to have that acknowledged. And when you're doing the microdosing, that's more extended, the same way that you would do a psychopharmacological.
I agree.
Like FDA
keeps you in touch a little more if you're microdosing.
Yeah, you're always doing set and setting. We talked about this in the past year in this group too. Like you're always doing that. Your brain is always spongy. It's always absorbing. It's just more so when you're on these substances. So that's something that we're also not teaching, and this is why it's useful to have feng shui or have like the concept of feng shui is based around that idea of your environment reflecting back to you what you want to be and become, and having that balance to allow energy to flow through your abode, to have a more balanced abode, to establish the balance that you want. So as much as that you can do, because that doesn't take a lot of work, right? It might take a little money, but really you can draw posters and make motivational posters for whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, the most expensive thing for that is, my opinion, diet, dude. Food's expensive. Eating clean.
Oh, that's true.
That is true.
Sadly.
Yeah, it
Therapy.
is.
Expensive.
Yeah, let's say it's $300, $500 a session.
But if you can utilize, like I was saying earlier, utilize the tools like that you're good at and keep things in check and moderation, then you can contribute to the things that you think are more important and still have your base values without having to feel like you're broke to go to therapy. Unfortunately, that's not for everybody. Everybody has different situations. That's why people need to reach out for help, of course.
I think we'll see this expanding as more research is done. More disorders will be able to be treated with better psychopharmacological substances. Because I don't see it going the other way, because there's a market for that. So both parties probably keep seeing the research being funded now because both political parties want this.
I'm hoping people don't just
MK Ultra.
Oh, it's a very interesting subject, and there's so much about it that is awesome and not awesome at the same time.
Well, yeah, and it shows like the types of things that
that the
psychedelics
government
can.
would do, and that the psychedelics.
And then so like if they're releasing it to the public, sending it to all these festivals, you know what I mean? Then like what's the intention there? Because like I said, I've seen some people go like way out of far in left field, dude. Like
yeah, man, I've seen that too. People running down the street chasing purple cats that don't exist.
well, yeah, and then also changing their entire identity. Like changing
Yeah,
their
Well, I
entire
mean,
identity.
Yeah, and that's what the and see that's what the tool is. And if you don't, a lot of people take
Exactly.
things recreationally, and
That's what
yeah,
the
like
CIA
yeah, it's a lot of responsibility on these governments because they're putting out things and not giving any awareness. And these kids are coming along and completely changing their lives for good or better, with
It
no
can be used for something
post
positive,
reason.
but it's just like everything else. You gotta like intentionally want to use it for positive means.
Yeah, but if they don't know what it's going
You
to
can-
do, like you said,
yeah, and then you can also overuse it, even with positive means. You know,
with
So
anything for
it's
sure.
like, yeah, it's like a very serious thing. Like you have to
It's a
do
very
it. Like,
double-edged sword.
intentionally.
Almost anything you do, especially with psychedelics, especially with mind-altering substances.
For sure.
so how do you get the person that is acting and or experiencing narcissism to ingest them and or sign up for a therapy session? Because that's probably what's going to be coming about more is the customized therapies and the customized psychopharmacologicals. So we'll have those tools available. Like how will all of the narcissists or people that are experiencing narcissism in the U.S. how will they be motivated
Yeah,
to
research.
engage in that?
Honestly,
You need
research.
research.
You have to do
But it's
studies
true.
to figure that out. You know, you can guess at it, but this needs actual studied research. I mean, I don't know how else we can really say what will be the
Gotta
most
go find them.
I would say they
Go
have to
find
get
them
fed
and
up
try and
with
figure out
their
everything about them.
I mean, you're not wrong, man.
Yeah.
I was just about to say the only answer is really community, hoping that we can focus less on too many politics and all these outgoing things, which obviously still need to be focused on, but maybe focus a little bit more on communities and having these different tools and outlets. Because, like, you don't even need psychedelics to be able to help with narcissism. You really just need people that love you that are going to be around you to help you. But obviously, that
Yep.
depends on the type of
In
person.
childhood.
Some people, it like I was just about, depends on the type of people. Most people after, I'd say 35 to 40 start to really solidify, and unless they have these psychedelic experiences or whatever experience may happen, they're not going to have their mind changed.
It's tough.
That seems to be the
I
case.
think the best case for mitigation is in childhood, because I think that's when it starts to
For
develop.
sure. It's the it's
Yep.
it's your
nature,
genetic
nurture.
and who you grow up around for sure.
It's a combo.
Yes. And
But it's
then
hard to
after
find that
after a
exposure.
certain. Go ahead.
Sorry. It's really hard to spot a lot of things in childhood because children have such a different and undeveloped perspective on the world. That's why they don't actually test for like
Yeah, they call
effectively.
it.
Yeah.
The kid version is called like oppositional defiance, and then there's another one. There's another one that they use. I'll think of it in a second. Couple seconds. Go ahead. But there's
Okay.
anyway. There's a kid version. There's a kid version that because we don't diagnose them with, full blown APD or NPD or whatever, and antisocial ASPD.
Right.
Until they're like 25, right, or something like that. And before that, it's conduct disorder and oppositional defiance disorder. Those are the terms we use to like diagnose kids who are unruly. And at that stage, it's like not full blown narcissism, and there's still a chance. There's still a chance. But the hard part is a lot of times these kids that develop it, they're in tough situations where that's the
Society's hard.
their nervous system is trained. Their nervous system is trained to like negate that part of their spirit,
Mhm.
Yeah, until they have those experiences or people around them to help them with those experiences.
Yeah, they either reinforce them, or if you have some sort of intervention, then you have a little more hope. But it's a combination of the community
I agree,
and
dude. I have an
the
interesting
the
idea on
parents.
that. Yeah, it's a
It's a
parent.
also poverty. Poverty plays a factor.
If we had more maybe programs. I don't know, because a lot of these, I'm not going to say all disorders, of course, because some are more severe than others, but a lot of them can be helped with diet, habitual change, exercise, and clean things for your brain, like knowledge, and staying away from things you do not need.
Well, that's fair. I mean, a lot of stuff can be
Diet,
improved by
exercise,
that.
relationship, and meaning. That's like the 5 that I tend to list. Is diet, sleep, exercise, meaning system, and your relationships.
And a lot of people aren't even aware of this. So they're stuck in their own stuff, their own puddle, and they also have disorders on top of it. So it's not like you can expect everybody to know. But
Prescribed with disorders and they don't know how to conceive
that's
of
what I'm
them.
saying. Hopefully people can
Only one man.
have programs that'll help with that. And I guess they
But
probably
there's no
already do.
motivation to fund those programs because it's more profitable to keep people stupid and subservient and sick and modifiable.
Yeah. That's why it's only these third-party people who've had these experiences or know these things or in touch with themselves that go out and do this because they're really just doing it to help other people.
It is changing a bit there. We are making progress. A lot of academies are waking up. A lot of universities are expanding their conceptions of free speech and expanding what they teach in general, as well as public schools. But
At the same time, we're having universities attacked on a federal level. Public schools are also being rolled back in education. I mean, here in Florida, they're literally teaching that slavery wasn't so bad and people should have been grateful to be taught the skills they were taught when they were slaves. I mean, I was talking to a school teacher down here, a school teacher who was like furious about it. She's like, dude, they were offering $2,000 to take the certification, which would have given me more options in the different classes I could teach. So I took it. And it was a panel, mostly local businessmen, led by DeSantis, that effectively taught us, and we even had to sign an agreement to teach the way they taught us to teach, her words. Basically concepts that, again, slavery wasn't so bad and they should have been happy and grateful to be slaves.
The colonialism and all that shit, it's horrible.
Oh, it's horrific. It's so bad. I mean, I heard some of this before, but to hear it from an actual teacher in the area, it's just
that's what the South
chilling.
is doing. So the South is honestly just going to whitewash the whole Confederate. It's basically the whole lost cause thing. They're going to make it all about states' rights and not about slavery. Like, it was nothing about slavery. It was all about states' rights. We just wanted to secede the Union and this, but it's all just bullshit. It's the same talking points they've been saying since the 1860s.
It's psychotic. It is absolutely psychotic that it is happening. But I mean, seriously, they're also teaching that I cannot remember her name at the moment because I'm terrible at names, but there's a woman who was enslaved by one of the founding fathers, and apparently they were being taught to teach that she should have been happy to have mothered the children of somebody who was a founding father. She should have been happy.
This is Aristotle. Blame Aristotle. This is Aristotle's Aristotle's master-slave relationship. Like his philosophy on the master-slave relationship is pretty much that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been around. Even Jesus said, "Slaves be nice to your masters, even the cruel ones." Like, this has always been the talking point for the people with power versus the people who are slaves. They always try to whitewash it to make it seem like.
I not remember that. Reading that in the Bible, but sure.
Wise versus savage, basically.
Well, again, because you have power, you want to keep the power, right? So as long as these people are enslaved to you forever, and don't even know
it's Machiavellianism.
Yeah, it was also you don't even know the history of it. So like, if you were taught that slavery is
good,
the next generation, you're like, well, I better be a good slave. My master will be awesome to me, like, and it just keeps trickling down instead of fucking the revolution that people needed to be like, fuck this is not right.
Yeah.
Well, considering the slaves were not treated so nicely and did not just live all happy in their means, we did have eventually a lot of them escaping and all this happening. But now it's being racist. It's being taught to middle schoolers.
I know.
It is incredible how there's so many philosophies on slavery.
People are terrified of white people being purged. I swear to God.
Well, yeah.
That
critical race theory and shit like that. I mean, there's all tied to all the same shit. Like, it's all.
It should be obvious. Like, all of this should be so clear that you should not judge people by the color of their skin, and that you should not enslave other humans. Right. Some people treat their pets better than they treat other humans.
I know.
And I've heard people that I've worked with who identify as schizophrenic, saying that they only want to interact with animals because of this. So there's this. I mean, it's so easy to fall into these ways of thinking, and that terrifies me because it should be blatantly obvious that once you've seen how that it should be obvious. But I think maybe we get more where it's very easy for us to be tribal against each other and to. I mean, that seems like that's the case. We've talked about this in the past too, with the way that the insular cortex works. Your disgust response starts triggering when you see someone of a different race, someone that you and your culture deem as unattractive and or overweight. And if your culture deems overweight unattractive, then that triggers insular cortex. And then the reverse effect, of course, you get pleasure and dopamine pursuit response hits when you see someone that's attractive or skinny or of the same race. And this is something that has to be taught out, but I think it does. Like, it's so weird. Obvious once you're shown it, and then you're like, how do you not see this when other people are blatant racist?
Because they never hung out with them.
Well, my relatives are, and
it has to be world philosophy.
Yeah.
See, but
world
all of that
philosophy.
is taught. All of that is taught, though. I just want to say it's not like it's natural for us to be having these responses to people of other races. For example, a good example,
Depends
kind
how
of
you
reverse of that.
grew up, I think.
Exactly, it's your race. It's your race that way. That's the whole thing about racism.
What was your example?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, based on the culture.
I was going to say there was a study done a long time ago where, in an even more racially biased society that we had, where children were asked to look at different dolls and pick out the ones they thought were the prettiest, and a lot of the black children picked out the white dolls as the pretty ones because that's what they were taught.
Yeah.
They did not pick the
right.
black.
They're nice and innocent still.
Right, but the point is they still absorbed enough of it. Children,
Yeah,
growing
no,
up-
you're 100% right. I was gonna say I do walks all the time and like around my neighborhood, and I try to like focus on like kind of like out of body, not exactly out of body, but like put yourself in the driver vehicle, not your vehicle. You're not the vehicle, you're the driver. So I was walking the other day, and I guess it's because of how I grew up or whatever. I've seen a lot of violence, but I guess so. I saw somebody working, and I immediately had like a feeling, instantly like thinking about race. So I stepped back in the driver's seat and I analyzed it, and I was like, "Why is that even coming up? Why would that ever even be an issue? You're in your own neighborhood." And it's a defense mechanism from when you were in areas that weren't good for you. And people don't know how to tell the difference between mechanisms they don't need anymore and like how to turn them off and on.
I was noticing this myself the other night.
Yeah, it's weird because like it's not like these thoughts I'm trying to get up or make them come to me. It's just maybe because of the areas
in the nervous system.
Maybe you're looking for peace, and it's like something that's just fucking stuck in there, you know.
Yeah,
you
but
gotta
then
work on it to like try and get it out.
Yeah, exactly. But if you just let it flow instead of, you know,
it's a good point though, for sure.
And it's also it shows why it's so important to analyze your own reactions and try to figure out the root of it so often.
Yeah, I've ruined a lot of friendships by not doing that.
Oof.
Heard. That's what people say now, right?
I think a lot of relationships are ruined by that.
Oh.
But yeah, K through 12 world philosophy, logic, and reason courses has to be world philosophy. You can't leave any philosophy out, because if you do, it's like you said, where it's like us versus them. But like if you understand them or you have an idea of what they might be thinking about, and it's authentic and they can agree, you know, that's fairly reasonable for you to teach in a philosophy course, K through 12. And then, you know,
is so useful. That's one that you really want to avoid putting in the history books, because you got to have us versus China. If it comes to war with China, we have to have everyone rallied together.
Well, the status quo says that, but that's why we have to create world philosophy, so it goes against the status quo.
We're about to go to World War III. Fucking Russia just warned everybody that if anybody shoots down one of their planes that fly over, like, they will go to World War III. So I mean, like, we're literally about to get the cusp of it right now.
It's charming. I mean, honestly, it's been escalating too with did you hear about the drone coordinated? It wasn't even an attack, but the way that they flew over Denmark and Norway. Yeah, it's horrific.
Yeah, because Poland and
Poland's different.
there's Poland and another
Poland's
country
good?
said that if they fly over again, they're gonna shoot them down. And then today, Putin
Yeah.
says if you shoot my shit down, I will go to World War III.
Yeah, I got a friend
Estonia
stationed
that
in
followed
Poland right now.
Article 4 on NATO. But Russia's been saying shit since Russia's been saying shit since Russia's been saying shit. If they're not careful, they're going to start sounding like North Korea with their threats, which basically
Maybe
just a
the
lot
only
of.
difference is they have way more. But that's, I mean,
I
you're
think
right.
nobody really wants to
actually
blow the
have North
world up,
Koreans
though.
there, too.
No, but
I'm sorry,
I
what?
think that Putin is fucking crazy enough where, like, if somebody actually attacks him, I think he wouldn't mind going on the like a fucking suicide
Honestly-
mission. Like, fuck it.
Honestly, I don't understand
Does he
that.
have
It's almost like
kids?
he's provoking it. It's
I don't think
almost
he-
like he's provoking it because he keeps pushing it. The drones in Poland,
Mhm.
the actual jets that recently crossed airspace of one of the NATO countries. It's like he's trying
I
to
know.
provoke it. So it's him saying,
honestly,
"Well,
I
you know,
think,
we're
I
going to
think
go
a
to
part
war."
of it is because he knows that Trump has his back, so like he knows that nobody will be able to do anything as long as Trump is not going to be like, you know, like, fuck these people, we're going to have to do something about it. Well, why wouldn't he? Because he knows that nobody else is going to do anything about it because we're the fucking leader of the pack, right?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, honestly,
And what are we
to a
going to
certain
do?
degree,
Press the button?
yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
America's not joining as a dangerous thing, but there's plenty of other countries that have had a number of years to prepare. Poland has the largest military in Europe.
Mhm.
There's been numerous other countries that have broken their neutrality stances. Germany raising up military. I mean, it's been some
Yes.
time that they've been responding to
Yes.
the very real threat that
But honestly,
Russia's invasion.
that's what
of Ukraine has done.
that's what NATO's supposed to be. I mean, honestly, we already have this whole thing figured out. You just have NATO, right? But that's the problem, that America is fucking basically chicken shitting on being NATO friends and shit, that they can't rely on us. And the
Yeah.
thing is, they've relied on us for so many decades that you're talking about, like, these people are trying to build up their military. Well, they just started like 5, 6, 7 years ago. Like they just
Which
they
is still
haven't
at
had
least
the
better than
time.
nothing.
What?
Which is still better than nothing.
No, it
And
is.
you've had a lot of these countries training together. There's been massive
Sure.
troop training with specifically scenarios of invading Russia
Yep.
over the last couple of years.
So we
because
got
of
a
this.
lot of U.S. troops in Poland.
We still do. Yeah, we
Um,
do.
Also, Trump has recently stated that, you know, he's like, U.S. is going to keep selling weapons to NATO, and whatever NATO does with those weapons, oh, well, you know what, he supports it.
Mhm.
So, I mean, technically, clearly looks like a reversal on his, but me and Putin are friends rhetoric doesn't actually mean much because Trump reverses left and right continuously so much it makes your head spin. But that has been the latest thing that he said. And he also, one of the things that he said to the United Nations in the last few days, and one of the only things that I can kind of agree with him on is that he said, you know, you guys will sit there, condemn a war by writing a letter and then do not much
Nothing.
else to
Yeah.
enforce that.
That is
So
partially
I
true.
cannot,
Yeah, I agree with that.
yeah, I can't fully disagree with that, but it also seems like he's kind of pushing NATO into stepping up into what? Wait, Gaza? Because clearly he is not admitting that that's a problem and stepping away from Israel. So what else is he pushing them on? The only other thing I could see would be Ukraine. And so combined with him saying that about the weapons and everything else going on, it looks like he is beginning to change his stance with Putin. But again, with him, it could be either all for show or a whim that gets changed the next day. So it's really kind of hard to make any kind of projections based
I
on
feel
it.
like the modern right-wing politics with MAGA in general is that it's might makes right. So I think that Trump is trying to make an alliance with like Russia and China, like let China take over Australia and what's it called,
And that's
place,
the-
the island, Taiwan and shit. Like I think he doesn't care as long as that it's going to be an alliance between like the 3-4 big countries and we can all work together and fuck the rest of the world. Like I think that's kind of the way they're trying to think.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Which is insane.
Yeah, I'm
It is
trying to
insane.
figure out his psychological profile, and I'm kind of reluctant to use that term, psychological profile, but
Mhm.
when it comes to politics, I think it's incredibly important because this determines the psychological health of our nation.
Very much it does.
Mhm.
And
Few
that's
steps. So, do you think that Trump is? I mean, he's clearly egomaniacal, and that's the general term too. But do you think that I've been watching him for years, and I want to know how to think about this because I've changed my opinions on this a few times. He does seem to be trying in some ways, but what
I
are
think
his
he's in
actual
someone's pocket
motivations?
now.
trying and what? I'm sorry. Repeat that.
Or what are his actual motivations? Because I mean, okay, so for example, I watched him trying to say acetaminophen,
Mhm.
and y'all might have seen this with the Tylenol and autism thing.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, obviously that's terrible. The autism and connecting that with I mean, that might actually be something to look into, of course. But tons of controversy around that. But he's trying to. He couldn't pronounce acetaminophen because I guess he'd never said the word before. Okay, fair enough. So he pauses and he says, "Okay, let's see how to sound this out, or let's see how to say this." Is how he said it, and he started sounding it out, and he said it right. He said acetaminophen, but everybody is making fun of him for not knowing how to say the word. So there's examples where the dude is actually really trying, but it seems the main language that he reasons in is the language of business, because when he goes over to all these other countries, he just seems to be making deals to put in golf courses or hotels or something, and then he just criticizes them about their marble on their floors, or like how they could improve, or giving recommendations for improving their castles or whatever. So I mean, is that good? Because that's kind of less harmless than actually being a real autocratic dictator. Is that more he's allowing this to go through because his party? Well, I think his administration is probably more racist and idiotic. Well, I wouldn't say idiotic.
I know what you're saying. I agree.
I want to say he's certainly not as racist and doesn't know as much about white supremacy as Pete Hegseth and these guys, it seems.
No, I always tell you, I think Stephen Miller is the actual guy that's running the country. I think he's the real president. He's a scumbag. But yeah.
That does seem to be the case.
Honestly, I think Trump's public persona might not necessarily be his actual persona. And there is something to be said about, even though the fact that he comes across as very low IQ, and very, the way he talks to his own supporters is actively insulting. And sometimes it's hard to tell whether it's with disdain because he's trying to manipulate them, or it's with just, this is how he talks and how he views the world. So I would be very hesitant to say for a fact this is his psychological profile, this is the diagnosis, as nobody should really just guess at without actually treating the person and getting to know them fully. But it definitely seems like his persona, whether it's carefully crafted by him for manipulative tactics or
but it seems like he's just giving up because he's blatantly lying now about the wars that he's negotiated. Apparently,
so many things.
Top 7 wars.
He lies about so many things, and he's so hateful and so petty and vengeful in persona that it is astonishing. There's not much business I'm seeing there.
Think about any other president saying that he hates the other half of the country. Like, that's never happened. I don't think even Abraham Lincoln didn't say that about the Civil War people. Like, he didn't go, "I hate these motherfuckers." Like, that's I'm just saying, for the president of the country to say that, like, in public, that's fucking crazy. It's so crazy.
I agree. He's talking about, and the thing is, he also keeps using general terms. Like, he'll 2 days after the assassination of the representatives in Minnesota, he did condemn it when it first happened. Like, right after it happened, I think an hour after the news broke, he did condemn it and say this is awful. This is, completely unacceptable. Should not be allowed in America. Bad. So I can give him that. But 2 days afterwards, he again started posting his posts about how we should, go after the traitors, liberals, and Democrats running these cities. Dude, what are you saying? First of all, traitor. You're calling them traitors. And what is the punishment for traitor?
I know, treason.
What is our punishment? So, right, it's treason. Is that right? So what are you actually saying? What are you actually inciting by doing that? How could you do, literally after assassination attempts on all these Democrats, you go again and say these general, not specifics, not, hey, I know this person to actively have been a traitor. No, not whatever. Just liberals in general, just making it as vague as possible. That's incitement to violence.
Yes.
It's wild.
The game is bullshit.
I would say this is the same speech and talking pattern that he used before January 6th. And then people go, he didn't cite nobody there. But it's like, but he did. You're listening to him talk for the last 2 months. You know how he is now. It's like, when you say all these things over and over for a long time, you are telling people this is what you do. Like, the reason why Paul Pelosi gets head bashed in with a hammer. It's because you tell these people these are evil people. And all this other shit over and over.
Say fight.
Right, but the wild thing is, I saw that rhetoric thrown from numerous people online at liberals saying, "Wow, no wonder, when the Charlie Kirk assassination happened, no wonder you keep calling people Nazis. People are going to treat them that way, and all the liberals are like evil, and it's violence is all their fault." And I'm like, wow, how can you possibly be that? Like, you what? Also.
There is some, like, I'm not stupid. Like, there are some dummies on the left that fucking do violent shit, like, for sure. And everyone should call them out and everything.
Right.
But to say
Agreed.
that they're the fucking mass majority and that majority of people are on the left are the fucking evil, horrible ones is asinine to me. Like,
we are
The Kirk
1984.
Memorial was warmongering.
yeah.
We are in 1984 people.
Yes.
Don Jr. spoke out the day after the Kirk assassination, before we really knew anything about anything. I think maybe a day and a half afterwards.
Yeah.
He spoke out on some show. I don't remember what it was, but there's an article recording what he said, and said that he cannot remember the last kind of event like this. I don't know. I guess he was referring to mass shootings or political violence or something that was not committed by a trans person.
I know. Even though it
Which
happened
is
2 months before in Minnesota. Like,
Right. It's astonishing. I'm like, how could you say that? And he proceeded to compare the trans extremists or whatever to Al Qaeda around September 11th and the Taliban. He actually used Al Qaeda and Taliban as terms. This is the kind of rhetoric and like literal history. Like we've seen it last year. It's not even old history. Like what in the like seriously?
Is it just a lack of
there's no way
in life, or
there's no way they're that dumb?
No, the thing is not dumb. No, I think they just cater to their audience, and their audience is mostly racist, fucking Confederate, believing fucking people. Like, so a lot of it, I don't even know if they necessarily believe. It's just that they cater to these people. Like, we know these. Remember when Trump said before, like in the 90s, he's like, you know, Republicans are so stupid. If I was ever going to run for president, I'd run for Republican because they're dumb. They vote for you. And he literally did it. I'm saying, but he literally did it, and nobody cares.
That wasn't fully proven. I tried to find that statement, and I could not find record of it during his first administration. I couldn't find
this
proof
is like
of him
he said it in the 90s or like the 80s or something. Like he said it a long time ago before he even ran for president.
Right, but I was trying to find proof of that quote from anything, and I couldn't at the time because I was going to use it for argument, and I did try to
snap.
And get some information on that. Not to say that
your political AI assistant and do some research on that, I guess.
Don't use
to have trauma.
AI is a bad use. That stuff's going to give you misinformation left and right.
Okay, it does say.
Well,
it does say it's fabricated.
If we have trauma, they can program us.
Well, for sure.
I'm sorry, what?
I mean,
why do you think we have recessions and shit every so often? Is it traumatize everybody? Everyone goes, "Oh my god, you remember when fucking 2020? Remember when 2008 happened and shit like that?" And that shit will be imprinted on your mind forever.
Yo, I'll be back.
It's gonna change how you spend money. It's gonna change how you fucking live your life because now you're always gonna be planning for the next big blow up, and you know, like, so yeah, it does make a big effect on people in general.
Yeah, and when we were all emotional and freaking out,
in here?
you'll believe the first thing that someone says if you're all emotional and freaking out. Especially if you have average IQ or below.
That's when you have confirmation bias.
50% of people.
Bias happens a lot when you're fucking scared. Because if you're scared of, like I said, like black people, well, guess what? You're gonna read things. You're gonna always find the things that say black people are horrible or Latino, whatever the fuck, because you have that confirmation bias.
Well, you're gonna find connection where it's relevant to you.
Yeah, even though
are any of the Minnesota people here?
Yeah, we're right here.
There's 3 of us.
Yeah, Trump is suing our election officials for our data right now.
So. Wait, what?
Because,
I'm sorry, what?
we do mail-in ballots. And
shit.
I
heard about this.
Yeah. So.
I know we're watching literally like political.
I'm a little bit more worried about like what they can do with that information in the long term.
Honestly, considering that a lot of Social Security information was already accessed by Damn, I'm not sure what is safe anymore anyway.
Did you see the Democratic senator chick got her information released by Trump's people?
I'm sorry, the what?
This senator or congresswoman, it was a left-leaner. Trump released like her Social Security number, her home address, and everything online today, like as an accident.
What, today?
Yeah, that happened
as an accident.
Oh, for fuck!
He just literally he just fucking totally doxed the shit out of this chick. And like I said, her Social Security, everything.
That's psychotic. That is absolutely psychotic. It's like they're asking, go ahead, somebody.
It's classic, though. It's classic. He's blackmailing people. He's saying he's making a statement by doing that.
That's what he's been doing with all like the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing. All these things are all blackmail. Or it's like, you need the FCC to do something for you. Well, maybe you should do what I want, or else the FCC is probably not going to help you, right? Oh, like it's kind of always that fucking game with him.
It's psychotic. He even did that with California and aid. When there was at the beginning of the year during the fires, he was trying to say that he was going to withhold federal aid to California until they fixed their election issues,
Yeah, I
the
know.
election ID stuff, and something else. And even like one of the I don't remember if it was a senator or a congressperson from South Carolina who was also dealing with their own disaster and still having not gotten all the FEMA help that they needed for a while now.
Yep.
Even the guy was like, "Hey, you can't do that. You can't just hold, like
Aid from who you
federal
hate.
aid like that."
Yeah.
Right, like you have to give it out equally. So, go that Republican for having said that. But it's so rare to see people step out of line with the party because he's threatening them left and
He is
right.
the party now. That's the problem. Like there is no like.
So much as
Yeah,
he's
he's removed anybody who's competent enough to stand against him.
That's the
so
reason why
much
that's what I always say. Like, think about it. He's running with a whole new vice president. Like, that's crazy, right? No president's ever ran with another vice.
Yeah, and
president.
JD Vance is in bed with all the technocrats, so
Correct.
whatever.
But it's just like the idea, like that's how much that regular
We're all gonna die.
the regular Republican people hate him so much that they all literally quit or got fired now. Like there is no Republicans; they're all MAGA now.
Yeah,
Well, I
they
mean,
were
there are
supposed to be the backbone of this country, right?
there are some people though that still do rebel here and there, like on the Epstein files.
Yep.
There's a couple of them, and recently with Jimmy Kimmel, you had Ted Cruz actually step out and say, "Hey, this is like mob-like tactics to
that was crazy.
after the
I give him
First
props for
Amendment."
We talked about that earlier. That's so crazy.
And you have to give him
Jimmy
props.
just got a lot more popularity too. I was tracking his YouTube over the past few months or so, and yeah, he got about another 500,000 subscribers to his YouTube channel from that, and 19 million views on the video of him coming back.
Yeah.
And yeah, he gave a very moving speech too. I posted it in the Polymath Park messenger group actually.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh,
Messenger
fantastic!
chat, but
Yeah, I want to see that. Oh, there's still
Yes,
some hope. There's still some hope, but it's still bad out here.
It's bad, but
well,
Did
so
any
what
of you
apparently
watch the
happened?
memorial?
The people were so.
Oh, I did
well,
not.
just wanna-
I didn't think I could take it.
The
I mean, honestly-
It was
so what
warmongering.
is,
Honestly, sorry. I was going to say, honestly, I feel bad that it happened. I do not support any kind of capital punishment, and assassination is one person deciding for someone else a capital punishment.
Oh yeah,
But,
that's so hypocritical. It's the ultimate hypocrisy.
Yeah,
Nobody on this side wanted them to die.
no.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
I mean, I
saying.
know some people celebrated it, and
Yeah,
It
but
didn't stop
that's on the
talking
internet.
dirty.
If we didn't have the internet and it was outside on the streets, nobody's saying that
Yeah,
shit,
nobody's gonna
right?
that's actually I've had
Nobody's
friends say
saying
It
that.
is
that
going to
shit.
happen.
I've had
Like,
friends say that. I've heard people say that to me in person. I've
it
heard
has nothing to do
people
with the
say it in
ideology. It's
person.
just the blame
It's-
game. You know, like
I wanted
who's
him to
One thing to
stop
say it, it's
talking.
another to
Sure.
act on it.
Yeah.
I didn't want
Okay,
him to
yeah,
die,
you
but I
would
wanted
do
him
it.
to stop talking.
I mean, they wouldn't actually commit the violence, but they were saying like, well, good, because of
It's actually bad,
his
though.
racist and
I know,
transphobic beliefs.
but it's bad because
Right.
now you just made him a martyr. Now the movement's gonna get so.
That too.
It's the same as when
That
Trump
too.
got shot and he didn't die that day. He won the election. Like that was the day the election was won in whatever June it was, July, whatever the
Yep.
fuck he got. Like
Because it's all
Butler.
about symbolism.
Well, yeah, because then he got the whole fucking fight. He got all the pictures, all the momentum, everything. It was that was the day the election ended. And that's the same.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what I thought.
well,
too.
there's
Once
plenty of
that
theories
happened, that was yeah.
There's still plenty of theories that he actually lost the election. I mean,
I
I
know.
don't put too much credit in it for
I've seen
a number of reasons, and especially because he spent 4 years touting the election was stolen from him. I'm not going to sit there and play those same tactics without any solid proof, but there is a lot of talk about a lot of things.
I've seen a couple
coming out.
studies that say it could have been, but again, yeah, I'm not going to be a denier. The thing is, again, that I personally just believe that moment was so big in history that just led him to the victory. Like, there's nothing going to happen.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be okay.
That symbolism,
It could have been
that
fake
culture,
too.
everything. That thing, I'm just saying, it was so big of a moment.
Well, there's
The
a lot
problem
of
with the
reasons.
Epstein files is that it's across all main domains of our
You're right.
entertainment, our politics, our geopolitical landscape, everything. It's
But I feel
all
like people on
involved.
the
So
left
you
think
have
that- I feel
so
like
many
people on the left are
actors that are
fine.
influencing the politics in our country based on blackmail, threats, fear, all that.
You're right.
So it's horrifying. Well, it's gonna come out eventually. It's slowly leaking out now. How much of it is going to be edited, how much of it is going to be believed, and what people are going to do about it is up in the air. But it is slowly coming out, and Trump's own actions to keep them from being released are pushing people away from him in his own party and base. So I mean, it's wild how much he's literally sabotaging its own self in a lot of ways. Like, why would you do all this unless you were personally afraid, or the people pulling your strings were personally afraid of it? But I do think it is going to eventually come out, and whatever agents are keeping it as blackmail and control are probably going to divest from America before that, knowing it probably will come out. So therefore, their
That's
power
what I'm wondering.
won't work.
Yeah.
2070, maybe.
I'm not that hopeful because really
withdraw.
I mean, think about like the fucking JFK files and shit. People have been waiting for them for 60 some odd years. So like, I don't know if the
and that's 60 some odd years of a relatively stable government, not one that's
crazy.
Got a massive. I mean, it existed at the time, but
you guys do know also. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just gonna say, you do know that the victims have been talking of compiling their own list of names and releasing them if it's not released. So that's what I'm saying. Like, information is going to get out there one way or another. And
those people can get killed. There's a lot of things like that. Virginia Dufresne killed.
Yeah, but
so, I mean, like, there's a lot
our internet is being bought over, and our internet is what's giving us the access to all this information.
True.
So essentially, at some point, it is going to reach a point in which we won't be able to access some of these things.
Well, so okay, I wanted to say, this is where the people are speaking out in ways that they haven't been able to before. So you can protest in the street, but now you can actually withdraw your subscription to these services. So if there's a parent company that has these affiliations to the Trump administration or is involved in, if they're caving, you can use your freedom of speech by voting with your dollar, or like withdrawing your dollar. And this is apparently how Jimmy Kimmel came back, because Disney saw all their subscriptions starting to drop because people were just canceling them, and they're like, "All right, let's bring him back." Yeah. So because they own ABC, and so they brought that back. So that worked. That was an example of where that worked in a way that we haven't really seen before.
It worked for now because of the access to information that we have.
But it's not just that.
Yeah,
it's not just that.
The ability for us to have free speech is what I'm saying on these internet platforms.
Exactly. And I've heard, I'm trying to remember the detail of it because there's been just so much that's been happening for months and months now that it's difficult to always remember the source or the exact thing because so much has been happening. But I do remember reading something about somebody in some area of Congress trying to make boycotting effectively illegal, which is wild and very much against the First Amendment.
Because people are boycotting Israel.
Yeah, that's where
and AIPAC affiliated businesses within the United States.
Yes, and how do you make that illegal? That's wild. That is absolutely wild. But I mean, they're pushing all kinds of stuff now. I need to research this one, but I saw somebody
they can get away with it. That's the sad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't always get away with it. No. Things are still shut down. But like you've just the past year, the number of insane laws have been proposed in different states. And a lot of them haven't passed yet. And so there's some hope to that. But like there's laws, I think, what was it? Oh God, what state was it? Recently has been trying to ban online pornography. Well, okay, as much as that's a whole conversation in itself, along with that, the person who proposed it for that state decided to tack on also banning images, simulation, representation, whatever, of trans people. Mm-hmm. How do you even do that? Like, what? How do you even do that?
Because they're trying to ban trans people. They're trying to make them mentally insane. They want to put them in insane asylums. Like, that's the plan for these people, like, the long term.
That's also scary because their talk about people with mental disabilities is wild. Recently, just 5 days ago, Trump posted something about Venezuela needs to take back the people they sent in here who are prisoners and people from insane asylums who are the worst of the worst. Like, so she's now talking about people. First of all, there's no proof in any of what he says. Second of all, he's now talking about people in insane asylums over here who are worst of the worst.
Yeah, there's a long history of this too.
The fact that insane asylums don't exist over here.
Yeah, I got nothing, but he posted it. I verified it.
The U.S. has a terrible.
No, that's what I mean. That's why his followers, the people who are still following him right now,
don't actually know.
They're brainwashed or they're really fucking stupid or both.
Well, a lot of it's propaganda because they don't even get to see a lot of it. I mean,
that is also the truth.
there's so many people out there, and I've talked to a lot of Trump followers in person and online, and a lot of them don't even know the most basic of things, to the point that it's shocking. Some of the stuff they're saying, like, oh, one person actually told me, granted, this person kind of heavy on conspiracy theories, and he actually told me, he's like, Trump is loved all over the world and people just want him to come into their countries and fix it. And I'm like, what?
I know, right?
What?
I just went to Europe. I went to Europe and I see at least 4 to 5 signs, graffiti on the wall saying "kill Trump" or fucking all this other shit. So I always laugh when people say that shit. Like, really? Because I've been there, and these people do not say that at the fuck all. They all want him gone.
Dude, this is
on where
wild.
you are, right?
Wow.
Well, and then it brings back the questions on Facebook's role in Myanmar's genocide of the Muslims over there.
I'm glad you know about that.
This is exactly what they're doing here.
Yeah.
And that's why I say for now we have the freedoms to know this kind of stuff. And yeah, historically we've always taken these things back and restored order. But right now, this is actually a really scary time in which it could dismantle everything, especially since Charlie Kirk was the one that was going into the colleges to brainwash these kids. And now the kids that weren't going to college still use TikTok, and that's being bought out by a company that he's in cahoots with, the Ellison family.
Yep, Ellison, that's what it was.
The Palantir family. Like, it's all connected. It is absolutely mind-boggling and scary because who knows? Like, the endless possibilities of disaster that could happen with this type of power being in just a few hands.
1984.
Yep.
3.5 years.
Yep. Oh, another thing. I saw somebody in another state, and again, a lot of this is just like kind of they're trying to shoot things against the wall and see what sticks. But the problem is that they're bold enough to try it. Some representative in some state penned a letter to CEOs of Facebook and Meta in general, to Blue Sky, to TikTok, to a bunch of these agencies saying, hey, anybody who celebrated Charlie Kirk's death should be banned from your sites and permanently blocked from ever making another account.
So IP banning is what they're saying.
Banning or whatever, yeah.
Again, it's just a letter that got out. It doesn't mean that there's get much traction, but that's a scary thing. They keep pushing this. Also, this did not pass last I heard of it, but again, they keep trying, and that's what's scary. There was a different state months ago that tried to make Trump derangement syndrome an official disorder.
Minnesota.
And it's being used all over the TikTok platform. So for these kids who live their lives on TikTok, this is their reality.
Yep.
This is their reality. And I've spent the last 2 weeks digging into TikTok because I did not use it before. This shit's wild. It's like an alternate reality.
Yeah.
I don't know. One of those.
What's it called? Trump just megalomaniac disorder?
TDS or whatever.
I call it TDRS.
The thing is, if politicians are not able to pen mental disorders, and they've already talked about forcing people with mental illness into institutions and all this. Like,
and let me remind you, girl, and I'm sure you're aware too, how easy was it for the men back in the good old days for them to call us insane and put us into an asylum without any question, because that is exactly what he wants to do with our rights.
For disagreeing,
they do not see women as human. They do not see us as equal. In no respect. We are an extension of their arm. We are meant to please them. Is this Christian movement, this white nationalist Christian bullshit movement?
I know.
Yeah, there's a lot of ableism that's implicit with that too. But just to touch on this, so for this book I'm working on, I did a lot of research into the psychiatric revolutions that have taken place over the past 100 years or so in the U.S. And there was a period during the 60s where, that was horrible. There's just terrible experiments that have been done. But there was
bring it back.
I'm afraid. So I'm getting to why some people might be saying that. I think so. There was a big movement in the 70s after some horrible atrocities were committed in the 60s, basically, and psychological experiments and incarceration and asylums and mental hospitals. And so in the 70s,
all under the nose of the
big
common
phase
people,
where we let them go. We let a lot of people out, and this was Thomas Cizaz actually played a pretty big role in this. This is the psychiatric abolitionist guy who's terribly controversial, but he wrote this out in really good exposition, where this term he uses is called psychiatric coercion and manipulation, where giving the person the label can unconsciously manipulate them and cause them to do things and deprive them of a full identity. And also psychiatrics can do that. So his major concern was more with the medication basis of that, where there's just way more controversy surrounding that than we actually. Yeah, that's another term that's used there too. But it's just
like
so we realized that it was
psychology.
Yeah, psychologism. Is that
That's just what rang to mind. I don't know if that's a real word, but you know, like
I guess so he's paranoid of that, and he's kind of he takes psychiatry and the possibility of coercion and manipulation very seriously, and he was very ableist in that way. He's the guy that wrote the book, The Myth of Mental Illness, to give you an image on that. So, but he's been a major contributor to the field too. So he contributed to the release of a lot of these people, in fact, which wasn't his original intention, it seems, but in other ways it was. It's hard to read what he thought about this, but yeah, there's just a lot of mental health institutions that got shut down, and so a lot of the more ableist-leaning or personal accountability, right-leaning folks are trying to bring them back, and then some of them are fighting to keep them open because they think that people should just be independent and mental health illnesses are a myth. But so what I'm imagining might happen is that they might review that, and they might be motivated to bring those back because of the ableism take on all of this. And I could expand on that more, but I don't want to take a lot of time up.
That's my fear, dude. That's why
there's a lot of history behind it that would allow them to reestablish those. I mean, the buildings are still there in a lot of cases. They aren't all repurposed.
Yep, it's a very valid fear, especially considering a lot of the rhetoric from a lot of people in this administration that you've heard everything from taking away social financial support from people on disability or people in general who need it, to then criminalizing homelessness and trying to make it so that people are forced into concentrated areas, including people with mental health issues, not just the homeless, into concentrated areas for their own good. And it's a
those two things are related.
What?
Homelessness and mental health.
Oh, often, yes. That there are many people who are homeless who do not have mental health issues. It's the numbers do tend to make it seem sometimes, or not numbers, sorry, the rhetoric makes it seem sometimes that it's most of the people. But statistically speaking, at least with some of the studies I read, that there was a couple that had varied numbers in them. That it's not.
But you also experience PTSD just for being homeless.
Well, I mean that's I can absolutely believe that that's going to develop some kind of.
Yeah, but what she's saying is, it just because being mentally ill isn't like a thing that everybody.
Not necessarily a precursor, but it can be. Yeah, no.
Could be.
Yeah,
it's a variable.
Because mental illness in itself can be instability. So it's when that mental illness.
I've hung out with the homeless.
Yep.
Yeah, I can tell you that when I was homeless, that I was certainly in mental health shambles. Basically, my mental health was not in a good place.
Yeah, and so are the homeless.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, their mental disabilities do actually lead to their circumstances because they're having a hard time coping with this, with the difficulties of like making it through life.
Society doesn't support them the way they are. Period. Exactly,
because instead we pathologize them, or we say that they're like negative, when really, honestly, a lot of the disorders are just slightly inconvenient, and if you slightly modify your perspective, then you can accommodate them. The only ones that are bad are the ones that are like super severe or harmful. But I mean, that's also a big request to ask people to say like, hey, maybe he's the guy who's hyperactive, you give him a slightly different work schedule.
Right. I mean, there are different organizations that do try to help with that. I know somebody whose job was to work with people coming off of, say, disability and to place them in whatever work environment that they could handle, but also to specifically work with the company, making sure that the company knows that this person you're hiring needs these accommodations, be it extra breaks or whatever other circumstantial things to be able to accommodate them. And this was more with mental health disability instead of the physical disability, though I'm sure there's
Yeah,
plenty
there are
of
ways to structure. There are ways to structure that around each disorder. If you think
Right.
about the disorder,
Right, but the problem, or I mean, some I guess would be harder than others, but yeah.
Well, it's the
But the
people
prob-
with the suits and the ties on who come in and say that that's not efficient, that costs too much money, or that's not
well,
probable.
then you get
That's
home.
stats and
Then you
statistics.
get homeless people.
Yeah,
You get
yeah.
homeless
But
people
guess
who
what?
can't- who can't
It doesn't
pay.
matter if you create a society that's already dehumanized homeless, and we don't care if they live or die.
Exactly. Yeah,
So-
exactly.
On top of this, so now you're getting rid of DEI programs that are supposed to also accommodate people with different forms of disability. You get rid of social economic support programs that are supposed to help them, including food stamps and stuff like that, by gutting more and more of it, and Medicaid as well. And then you
up.
criminalize homelessness. What is that getting you? What is that going to wind up?
You're gonna just put more people in jail. That's why they're trying to build super jails now, right? All these mega jails they've
Round
been
them up.
building and shit.
And let's talk about jails. What are these private
Turn them
private
into
prisons?
slaves.
Yeah,
Slave
basically.
labor.
Yes,
That's all it
what
is.
Yes,
Yeah.
you pay them $1 a day. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Horrific.
Like,
That's why there's
Because
so
they're
many.
crazy.
That's why there's
More
so many
people
people of
in
color in there as well.
partially.
Well, if they're
Horrific.
homeless, they can't do it.
More returned citizens than any other country.
Yep.
And why isn't
Oh,
the news
wow.
talking about the people that were pulled out of the bayou today? There was
Wait,
like
I'm sorry,
13 black men that were pulled out of the bayou in the South today.
Wait,
And it's
what?
nowhere on the news. I've been trying to find accurate information on it, but everyone's talking about it on TikTok.
You're kidding.
Got pulled out of the bayou.
And it's nowhere on the main stations.
God, I need to look this up. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly happened with the man who was hung in the campus, the
I know,
Delta
I'm
campus.
trying to figure out. They've deemed.
I
it a
think they're
suicide
doing an
right now.
independent autopsy.
Yeah,
That
they
should
don't
probably
know.
that would probably
That's
take
the last-
time.
That's the last I've heard of it. But it's horrifying because apparently the family was initially told he was found in his bed. So that's already a very clear sign of a blatant lie. I don't
You want
like. Whoa.
a thing I just recently read too. Honestly, was remember how they shut down Alligator Alcatraz shit? Where did all those prisoners go? Nobody knows.
Oh yeah, 1,200 of them are missing,
Yeah,
and
we
then
don't-
I
we
want to
have no
know.
fucking clue.
I want to know the people that aren't going to stand up and say anything because the homeless that don't have family that
Mm-hmm.
don't know that they're missing. All those people they're rounding up to clean out of
Yep.
these streets. Where are they actually putting these people?
Nobody. Like I said, super
It's
jail.
a lot
Because
of
I
shelters
know
are
they're
full.
not paying for them to be places.
No.
A lot of shelters are at capacity. That's a problem. I have a
They
friend
were at
who's
capacity
homeless.
before this.
Yes.
So where
I
are
have
they
a friend
going?
I have a friend who's homeless in Baltimore, living out of his car with his dog, and he can't get anywhere to stand because all the shelters are full. And I talked to somebody else through another friend trying to get him help, who works specifically to homeless. Like that's his job, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, all shelters are capacity."
Mm-hmm.
You got to find a group home.
Huh? I'm sorry?
Yeah, try to find a group home.
Yeah.
So far, he hasn't had much luck. I actually need to reach out to him again. I haven't talked to him in like a
Does
week.
he have a disability that he could? Does
He's
the
been
group home need a disability or?
I think so,
It
but I mean, he's been
helps.
applying for disability, but it's been slow as it is. It's a very difficult process
Because
to
if you
get
get
on
disability,
disability.
it's free. If you don't,
And
have
it's only
disability,
gonna
it's
get
gonna cost you
harder.
money.
Because I'm pretty
Oh,
sure he's
yes.
attacking disability
He
right
is.
now.
He's making it.
so,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
which is horrific.
And I know he's going to come after autism with that. He's already framing it.
Yeah, for sure.
He's starting the
Which
framework.
again, autism's not even a
So-
bad thing per se. Like it's
It's
just
not.
it's just a thing. Like some people get socially
So, well,
awkward. Some
And
people
it
get
needs
super
to be
smart.
identified because obviously they're not going to put our best interests first. So yeah, we have to have these intricate laws that protect us and give us a place on
Oh, yeah,
this
for sure.
in this society.
Well, to be fair, some autistic expression that people wind up with can be very detrimental. I know people have more classical versions of autism where they cannot take care
Yep.
of themselves or function much, and
Mhm.
they need assistance. And while autism in yourself in the very spectrum isn't a bad thing, there's so many ways where it's not. At the same time, it can also be detrimental. As with
Mhm.
anything, there's the good, there's the bad.
Yep.
You
It's
you
just
know
a
you need to
thing.
recognize the good and work on the
Yeah,
bad
I
to
would
help
say
people.
it's just a thing. It's how you perceive, how we perceive it, or anybody as a person. If it makes it a good or a bad thing.
Okay, what about narcissism? psychopathy.
I think it's such a thing too. So like, I don't think all
You know what I
narcissism is
mean?
bad, but I think
Yep.
narcissism can be good because I think narcissism is just like your inner
Well,
ego.
everything
which
has a
little bit
role.
is not bad. It's just if you go to extremes with it, I guess.
Well, fair.
Yeah,
and
you need
Well,
to have
they
the
have their
balance.
role in life too.
Yeah, you got to find a balance. Like if you know that they're in your organization, your work site, you just got to have the balance.
Yep.
You got to have someone that's really HR effective
Huh.
with people and leadership, and just know in the ranks you've got to have the balance, or else you're going to get topsy turvy.
But also, I think this. I try
But
to
does that work? I mean, if you look at the system,
Yeah,
like
you
where
need,
we're
you
at
need a
right
leader
now,
because if shit hits a fan,
does
you
that
always
work?
need a
Does
leader.
that pan
Yeah,
out?
it does help, I think, because
I don't know. I feel like the bullies. I feel like the bullies inevitably rise to the top of every system, and they always have.
They do
That's why we've
because in
had the
America
revolution.
and in recent history, and I think in my perception,
history.
always we reward
All history,
aggressive
yeah.
behavior,
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
And that's true.
and that's
That's
So there's
okay.
a problem with
But
that.
here's the thing: there are more reserved leader types that aren't so typical, like patriarchy. Sorry guys, no offense, but like they're not typical the cut, and
Yep.
they are
Mhm.
very effective. You just
oh
gotta
yeah,
find
no, I don't doubt that.
People are
Yeah,
fluid.
you've
like,
gotta find
you might
them.
be a leader
But-
in one
Yeah, those are
section of life,
power-seeking
but not the
people.
other leader. Like you could be a leader, like in certain circumstances. I might be the best
Well,
inclined to
people
know what
like
to do.
controversial things. They like to gossip. They like storytelling. So, of course, this is
Power-seeking
going to
people.
take people who don't think beyond surface level to vote for extremes or support extremes instead of looking at those people who are very effective in their job, yet don't make these coined
Waves.
statements or
Yes.
these.
They
Yeah.
don't make waves.
So that's
really,
why. It's because
yeah.
it's boring. It's not hitting the dopamine right. It's not
Today's world,
whatever.
In today's world,
Yeah,
Well, no, here's the
power-seeking
thing:
people-
they can be
Power-seeking people
effective.
are going to seek power. And power-seeking
Yeah.
people are going to seek power, and everybody else is going to not seek power. The people who should
Well,
be in
no,
power
so
aren't going to have it.
Here's another thing: you can be effective and just be quiet and just measured, and you just stay the course. And guess what? People resonate with that. You will
Yep.
find people are going to be attracted to that kind of leadership too.
Sure.
Mhm.
It's the
Well,
Yeah,
I
that
think
doesn't
you
work
can-
because
you
the
can lead by
narcissist,
example.
the narcissist will think because the narcissist will think about both scenarios, the moral scenario and the immoral scenario. They have multiple options. The person who's moral doesn't have multiple options. So the person who's immoral who has multiple options will have the upper hand because they can choose either one.
Yeah, but sometimes
You
it
and
comes
I
down to the
can't.
idea too. Like if I have a better idea, like you can be narcissistic all you want, but if I just happen to have the best idea and I can explain it to everybody perfectly, where everybody, or at least most people can understand, you should still win that fight, even with the narcissist.
And the narcissist is also sitting around thinking about how to make all of this work out. You and I aren't. We're
Yeah,
sitting
but-
around trying to think about how to be
No, there's-
genuine, decent humans.
I gotta disagree. There's a silent type that knows how to be charismatic,
Yep.
and they're not geared to always go to bat every fucking day to convince people. But guess what? They're still at work, and they're really measured, and they do exist. And we need to recognize these people a little bit more, and we'll be healthier.
Yep.
Because we need to recognize
but they-
actions instead
They don't
of
rise to the
words.
top. Name someone at the top who's likely not a narcissist. Bill
Uh,
Gates, no.
Well, what
No.
you want to
No.
define narcissist again?
Musk,
This
no.
is kind of a hard debate.
Yeah.
Like I think egotism
Probably
is very
not.
common. And
Is it true
Brandon,
narcissism
Okay,
or is it
egotism.
nature of the game?
I was
Yeah, 'cause
thinking
you can
about
be-
this.
That's what
I
I'm
wanted
saying.
to
The
get
game
Paul's
is
opinion on this too.
The game is fixed for the narcissist. That's what I'm saying.
No, you can be entrepreneurial,
All
and
right.
you can do well.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah, but you're not going to have power.
Actually, technically speaking, it's not the narcissist. At least, as far as I know, the latest I read about the research, it's usually sociopathic, antisocial, however you want to word it these days. That is usually the personality that tends to rise to the top because they're the ones who
Yeah.
have the easiest time to step on other people,
Mhm.
to
Right.
make brutal choices. They're not everyone. Otherwise, we would have 100% instead of some. But at least according to the stuff I read before, a large percentage
enough
of
for this
people
mess.
who are CEOs, who are surgeons, who are top chefs for reasons as well, tend to be sociopathic in that regard. And so it's obviously not everyone, but it tends to attract, or at least those people tend to get promoted more, whichever way.
That's probably
Yeah.
because they've become
They also get the money.
extremely good at manipulating whatever way they do.
Yeah. Because they
Yeah.
spend all their
Well, I
time
wanted to ask
doing
y'all-
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, so I wanted to ask y'all.
It's a game to them.
Do you think it goes up exponentially? Brandon and I were talking about this earlier on before y'all came on. Do you think that the seeking of power and the clinging to power in as many ways as you can apply power goes up in correlation with the acquisition of that power? Like once a person acquires that power, say you're the mayor, that's a pretty good standing. Say you're this, well, now it's called Secretary of War, and you're Pete Hegseth. He's probably going to be an egomaniac. And say you're someone like Trump, who already has a prior history of that, and you know how many political leaders. So I think it does, because when you try to translate that to actual power, it is just that you have the most kinds of examples of definitions of power over other humans as you can kind of come up with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's because each individual radicalizes differently. And some, unfortunately, like with our friend who is at the Department of War now, we have a dangerous radicalized person who has these beliefs from the beginning.
And some people, I suppose, could wind up becoming addicted to the acquisition of power. I mean, honestly, look at some of the people
without doing harm, though. Like it goes everything in between as well.
You try to
well, I suppose
the word radicalization, I think, is appropriate. Yes, they become radicalized. You get swept away by the ideology. It's far easier for an ideology and an identity to be provided for you than for you to put in the work to
figure out your own.
Uncomfortably form one for yourself. Because every time you go to confront your ego, at least for a long time, it's very uncomfortable.
well, I heard actually people people have authoritarian disposition, and as far as following authoritarians tend to have a hard time forming sense of identity, and it's been linked to upbringing, a very strict, very punishment reward style upbringing that kind of stamps out critical thinking and identity growth or ability to grow. So that kind of develops oftentimes into people
like RFK.
Looking, well, I don't know about his case in specifics. That man is
we
wild.
also have meritocracy, which is like everything's based on merit. So, which that's a really big driving force for selfish acquisition by whatever means, even if like you don't actually have the coordination required to make something happen, but you're able to seize the merit.
More than meritocracy, because if you're getting the job because of politics or whatever, that means it's literally nepotism. It's the opposite of.
Well, true.
But it's both, because
is it all those
environments by having a sociological conceptualization that we're all competing against each other, it's going to naturally tend us to compete.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, meritocracy.
A lot of the people
sorry,
in the Conservative Party that are fighting against nepotism are actually very much benefiting from that. When you look at the people that are going into office, a lot of times there's familial ties.
Or it's
and
you went to this college.
It's not just nepotism. Nepotism and meritocracy.
You think about the family systems and how they operate with each other, and how that curates the individuals that you see that go next into the succession or whatever you want to call it of power within their family.
Both are at play, because it's people who are able to seize based on meritocracy and narcissistic like pursuits, and it's also people who are already in the position to continue to do that.
Well, honestly,
because power doesn't. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say quickly, honestly, a lot of that also has to do with the fact that there's so much wealth inequality, that why is it possible for one politician to pass the office to their child? Why would that be possible to voters? Because the more money and backing you have behind you, it's just name recognition. People won't even know what you stand for, but they'll recognize your name and they'll vote for you. At least in some cases, that has been shown with interviews of people exiting the polls in certain state races and the like. So in the end, it comes down to financial inequality.
True. Go back to what you're saying. That's why
the art of war.
I think that's a big reason why they have the DNR when you vote instead of just names, because it gives people that don't know anything like, oh, I'm an R, so I just have to vote R no matter what, or D. You know, like
it's terrible. It's terrible to vote down ballot just because.
Yeah, I'm saying I think that's
it's the intergenerational art of war. Sun Tzu.
Yep.
Well, so do any of y'all want to play some Brawl for a bit?
I go back at the right time.
What's that now?
Word up.
I'm finished
Yeah,
with my
Brian.
game of Risk, so maybe after I will play.
Cool.
I am definitely going to
let
bed
me
in
put it
like
on.
10 minutes.
Wait, what now?
We said Brawlhalla.
We can play a game.
Have any of you guys seen that
Video
meme,
games.
where it's not a meme, I'm sorry. Like the mega supporters are posting like this Donald Trump's family and like the years of office next to
Yeah.
them.
It's supposed to be
heck?
It's supposed to be JD Vance for 2 terms, and then it's supposed to be Barron Trump for 2 more terms. Yeah, I already seen all
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that's if Trump doesn't just abolish
Disgusting.
elections, or go for a third term.
You know what's funny
Yeah.
though? The funny thing is, why is everyone skipping Don Jr.? Everybody hates.
I think because even they're
Even
like,
the re-
nope.
even-
I
that's what I'm
think
saying,
Nobody
even the-
likes the weasel.
That's what I'm saying. Even the Republicans are like, dude, I can't back Don Jr.
Can't even look at him.
I'm just saying, it's just funny they go straight to JD and then they go right to Barron. Like, there's no Don Jr.
Yeah.
Just fuck him.
what a nightmare.
It's crazy.
I kind of feel bad for Barron because I think I still see him as such a young kid.
Yeah, he's like 21 now, maybe.
You know, all these people started off as kids, and
I know. It's true.
He's doomed.
it just makes you wonder, like, if they were taken out of that scenario and put into a different family from the
What would
beginning,
happen, for sure.
would they
Oh,
be these atrocious human beings that they are today?
Of course, the nature versus nurture. Nature versus nurture.
Right.
There's a bit of both that happens. So
is.
yeah, I think anyone put in a different family or upbringing environment would be different, at least to a certain degree, because both again nature and nurture do influence some. But like the way that after hearing this, he described about like effectively the dynasty people are trying to push for. Does anybody else feel like hearing like about Baron, like you're hearing about like this poor kid who's supposed to inherit like the Mafia Don title from his parent and effectively being pushed into the Mafia
family.
lifestyle?
Right. He's Michael Corleone.
It's eerie and creepy and kind of sad.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily he's going to be a bad kid. It's just fucking. It is what it is, though. Honestly,
Well,
I
that's a-
think
that's how
Melania's
it's
not even a bad person. Like you hear Melania, like the few times they ever let her speak, dude, like she sounds like a good person. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, like they just never let her do anything.
Her family's all part of this shit too,
Yeah.
though.
Well, yeah,
That's
she's
the
a-
unfortunate
Yeah,
part.
yeah,
But all these
there's
girls
elite.
are
They're
bred
groomed.
to do this.
Yes, they
It's
are.
Yeah, they're groomed.
they're
all
not
groomed.
even
It's a mail order.
human
bride.
to these men.
Yeah, I'm saying it's a
They're
mail order
just-
bride. That's all it is.
Well, the men are groomed too. Don't get it wrong.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's a whole
Honestly-
society. or whatever you call it, yeah.
Honestly, if we start looking at any one individual or people in general of any group as they are the evil ones, we start losing some of our own humanity
Well,
and our own
I don't
ability
think
to
anyone's
reason.
trying to say
That's
they're
why I
evil.
hate
Well,
when
what-
people say
the
evil.
Yeah.
So I agree.
What do
with
the
you.
elite do? What should the elite do?
They should
That's
help
the next
humanity.
question.
When you have
Dismantle.
Okay.
I
Give up
always
Let's talk
say
about
it's
that.
the Spider-Man thing with great power comes great responsibility. Like you can have
Agreed.
power,
Okay.
you can
Ow.
have things, but like as long as you're trying to do the betterment of humanity, like the thing was like Elon, like if
You gotta
Elon
have
actually-
checks and
Like,
balances.
Like Elon should be like
I
he's
think
so rich at this
for
point, like
that-
just give away cars or something. Like, like if you have a car,
Right, but look at the GDP. Look at the GDP. Can we afford UBI?
can we? Probably.
That's possible, I
I
think,
don't know.
honestly.
I don't think we can.
Absolutely.
I think
It's about the
I don't know if we can even do
military.
it with minimum wage. Can we do it with minimum wage? I don't think we can. I think
We
we're
have to
like
change a lot
a
of
trillion short.
The problem is we have to
billion.
change numerous things, everything from taxes to the way that companies are held responsible to workers' rights. I mean, honestly, changing minimum wage in itself is not going to change much because
I
then
like
the
one
companies
thing
are
that you
gonna charge
said.
more. So that's inflation.
Yep.
But if we start changing
If companies
numerous
are more
things like
democratic,
well, we have to
Maybe.
effectively approach everything, not just one thing.
Yep.
It's gonna be hard.
if
when we
everybody
keep
can
our
vote
unions up.
within their company,
Well, that's
I'm
like
sorry,
that's
what?
like a what's it called?
We
Workers-
keep voting our
what's
unions
it called?
out. It's
A co-op.
Because
Yeah,
there's
that'd be like a
anti-union
co-op.
propaganda out there. I mean, there's a lot of
yeah,
anti-union
yeah. Don't you guys remember getting sat down in like orientation? They make you sit through these boring fucking videos about why you shouldn't unionize.
You know?
Yeah, I've heard of people having to go through that.
Continue
It's
to utilize it.
bad. Don't you dare take their protection.
And I mean, sure, some unions might have been handled poorly, but
Yeah,
then,
there's
you
always gonna be
know,
corruption. That's the thing. It's like anything.
Right.
Like I was arguing this
Can't
morning.
have light without
That's the problem.
darkness.
Well, dude, because honestly, there's like unions or whatever you want to call it, organizations, but in the end, they're ran by people, and people are usually
Corruption.
corrupt pieces of shit. Yeah, I'm saying like, there's always like even if the thing is
Narcissist.
good, it just
Acts of
takes a couple.
narcissist.
I'm saying, but it just takes a couple. Yeah, but then it's usually the good people within the company that calls them out and figures it out. So hopefully the company can still survive. So I mean, like,
Do they? What are we in? What? Look at the boat we're in.
what do you mean?
Is
Like,
it
Pretty big boat. I'm just
see,
saying, do the good. Do the
I don't
good
know
cops
what's the
actually call out
interaction
the bad
between
cops?
the diagnosis of
Some. Not
narcissism
enough,
and operating within the parameters of what you need to survive the environment you're living in. I mean, I don't understand how. I feel like narcissism was so narrow of a.
I think
Yeah.
we would have an easier conversation if we had like a case study, because like I think of the board of directors, and you've got to satisfy the board if you are that leader that is narcissistic leaning.
It's a narcissistic circumstance. It's a narcissistic system.
All leaders have to drop 20 grams of mushrooms. New rule.
Ah!
Well,
Damn.
if everyone,
That's
if everyone
weird.
took a hit
This
at the
man,
same time, you
I
would
put all the water
wanted to be a
supply.
leader.
That was a joke. That was a joke.
It's semi-serious. I always say, if everyone took
Most
acid right
direct
now in the whole world, you'd have so much less racism and everything because people are like, why the fuck do I
Just-
hate you?
yeah.
Like,
I mean, as long as it was regulated and people that
Yep.
are ready with set and setting to have it, don't have pre-deposition, can't even speak.
Yeah, and right now the
Fair.
setting is inside a hospital setting with white walls and some cheesy Eastern music that's just been
Yeah.
downloaded by
Which
made
is why
from AI
so
or
many
whatever.
honestly,
But
that's-
Okay,
people
so
are doing
but I
it.
say that.
Music festival also not
but
quite
yeah.
it.
Did any of you guys feel personal when he ripped out the rose garden? Did you guys
Oh,
feel
that
that
hurt.
personally?
Yeah, that's,
That hurts. And I don't
stupid.
even have specific
Yeah, I
personal
don't, but it hurt when I
connection to it.
saw that.
Yeah,
I was like, you're
I
erasing
know.
our
I
nation, man.
know.
You're
I
erasing the
know.
people who came before you.
Yep, because that doesn't matter. He's the only one that matters. At least
mean,
in his
honestly,
rhetoric, that's literally what he says.
He literally
He's
did
the best
January
president
6th. He
ever.
doesn't
Who
give a
cares
fuck
about
about
anyone?
that whole property. He doesn't care about anything there.
That hurt. No, I agree. That hurt. And I mean, just considering all the other modifications to the White House, it's becoming like a. Sometimes this honestly looks like the nightmare dream of like a punk rock kid from the early 2000s about like the evils of capitalism, but now it's just reality.
Yep.
What used to be satire doesn't even fly anymore. Honestly, like 15 years ago, somebody
It's
would tell me
happening
like
so
about this.
rapidly.
Right, but like
More
15 years ago or
friends.
so, if I heard about this description about like the U.S. president is doing this and that, and this is what the White House looks like, I'd be like, look, I hate how our country is run as well, and I think we're way too capitalistic and materialistic. But I think your satire is a little way too far there, buddy.
Do you hear
That's
what?
what I would
I'm
have
just
Did you
worried
hear-
if he remains in
hear what
office
South
for
Park-
4 more years with
Us-
him buying out TikTok, that it's going to influence more people across the board
Oh, it's scary.
because of how distracted we get with these small handheld
Yeah, of course.
devices.
That's scary. I mean, technology, as with
Yeah.
anything else, is how you use it
Yeah.
and what you make of it. But any kind of control,
It just
like
needs-
it's beginning to sound like 1984.
Human
more and
condition
more.
is using it.
You need some regulation. Like it's the Wild Wild West.
Like-
Without self-awareness,
I don't
they
know
have no
about that.
realization on what they're doing.
True.
We need
I'm
to
not
teach
too
more
worried.
self-awareness.
I'm not too worried. These
K-12
tariffs,
philosophy.
these tariffs
agree.
have really not been good for the economy this whole year.
Mhm.
So just keep that in mind. We got to watch how the tariffs handle and how people respond. But I'm not too worried. I think it's going to swing hard next election.
It just sucks because a lot
If
of small
their
businesses
elections are allowed to be held
hitting hard.
fairly,
That's the problem. Are they gonna be allowed?
Hmm. Well,
Yeah.
even are they even going to be allowed to be done fairly in this midterm?
yeah.
You know
Because
what's
he's
crazy
already,
too?
He's already pulling the stuff for Minnesota, so
I
and
know.
you
I was
know
gonna
he's
say-
gonna get it because he's gonna be
And-
relentless because he's a fucking
The
asshole.
only thing
And
is,
you heard
we're,
about
we're,
Texas,
left, we're left
obviously,
states, so
that-
all of our
that
left-leaning
Texas
judges might
gerrymandering.
say no, but hopefully.
God,
Have
this
they
is
ever been
just-
fair?
That's if they're not ruled as terrorists, because now Antifa is a terrorist organization. That's fun. There is now Antifa, anti-fascist.
Mhm.
That's what it is. But it's terrorist now. That's fun. And so are the trans people. Trans
You know
people
who
are
the
terrorists.
other terrorists are? Democrats,
Yep.
Oh,
liberals.
God.
They're the-
radical-
That's all I fucking hear all
Did you
day
see
when
that
I'm
James
looking at
Comey
this
is
TikTok
James
shit.
Comey's about to
Yeah,
get
it's
arrested.
horrifying.
They're trying to indict James. They just
Yep.
indicted James Comey. They're about to do fucking Adam Schiff. It's weird that all the political enemies, like everything that we warned people about, is literally happening, and people are like,
Yes.
you're wrong. It's like, We told you everything that was going to
And
happen.
all the
and it's
people
happening.
that
You're being
support him don't
hyperbolic.
realize that he don't care about them. He'll off them
Yeah.
if he needs
Yeah,
to.
Of course
yeah,
he
I
does.
know.
V for Vendetta, the movie.
It
I keep telling that to people. I'm like, why would you trust Trump? Look at how he's treated his own supporters. If anybody steps out of
People
line,
he holds
look
near
how
and dear.
look what he's done. Why would you think?
It's just
he
like
would
V for
do that?
Vendetta. We gotta have the revolution, man.
It's terrifying, is what it is.
Well,
I just don't want.
Hey, question.
Violence.
It doesn't have to be
You
violent, though.
guys,
It would have
when you guys
to
go
be
to work, I don't know. When you guys go to work, do you see the direct implications?
Yes, we've closed
Yeah.
multiple of our clinics.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
these people are being forced to drive 2 hours just to get primary care.
Wow.
Fucked up.
Yeah,
What kind of
I see.
And
all
they
kinds
still
of
don't
reaction.
understand what it's about. And I can't tell them because, I'm
Yeah, it's too big of a concept too in many ways, and it'll be overwhelming for a lot of really sensitive minds. And
What kind of clinics are
using
they?
that word gently, but so there's lots of
primary care clinics.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I do mostly personal coaching and if I can, the philosophical mentorship. But the issues that I've seen are very profit driven and very condensed, where you'll see CBT, but someone will just take like a course online or something and then get a certification from somewhere and just run with that, and they'll get hired by what's it called?
Are you saying like cognitive behavioral therapy?
So you can get certifications on whatever you want online now.
Yeah.
From anywhere, and you can also just download the freaking certificate and make it look good too if you really want to do that. But
materials are expensive.
The framework is there for you to do that, because you can just go online and look up how to maximize on very little information, basically, and very little legitimate. You can have a lot of information, but very little experience, is what I'm saying. And
That's concerning.
Goes back to the knowledge and wisdom.
People call it like
Experience.
McMindfulness. Yeah, John Vervaeke uses the term McMindfulness to describe this, where we just borrow from really deep Eastern philosophy and Western and just mash it together in really condensed.
Side note, I read an article recently about how meditation and mindfulness can actually trigger certain psychotic episodes in people and have been throughout for hundreds of years recorded, and isn't often addressed by a lot of people pushing it. And I'm not like saying against mindfulness or
totally like to
meditation.
talk about that.
But that's
It has to be done by the right people. Yeah.
The thing just real quick. The thing I read in the article is not only can it actually give like an actual psychotic break, like full on sense of like just disassociating from reality, but it can also cause anxiety, fear, followed by terror. I mean, they actually listed terror. It's bad when you go, you don't just say anxiety and fear, but you list terror.
Most of the things that
part of the
provide
process?
these, I was going to say, most of the things that provide this, just like when you smoke weed or do something or take psychedelics, a lot of these things are bringing to the surface, including meditation, bringing things to the surface that you put to the side. Of course, depending on the person, it's things that you've put to the side that you've stashed away in your mind that you've forgotten about. Most people who have these problems come up have not dealt with certain things like anxiety. They probably, like people who weed who get anxiety, it's people who smoke weed and get anxiety and have shit to do and haven't done it in their life and smoking weed and know they shouldn't be.
Well, it's because they have anxiety already and then they smoke weed.
It's that cycle.
Yeah, it's the cycle.
Well, it also depends on the
body. Body and mind are connected. Yeah, body mind connection. But like, if you never get to rest your nervous system and suddenly you are, like a whole lot of shit's gonna come to the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know yourself. Know thyself.
That's very, very true.
Yeah, it could just be the overwhelming nature of what you're experiencing once you have these revelations presented to you in whatever form that might be.
Well, I suppose that's true. I suppose that's true, at least for like
experience.
severe anxiety, or again, the word the article was using was terror. Like, whoa.
Yeah, no, it definitely could.
No,
But
it's true.
actual dissociation that people have experienced and types of hallucinations, like actual hallucinations, that is wild to be an experience of it.
Full body.
I've actually experienced this myself. I do it on a daily. I don't mean to, but I experience it on a daily. I actually perspective myself as the driver of my vehicle. That I like every decision and every thought that I make is usually coming from the driver, the person in the driver's, like, that's not the vehicle coming from the driver. That makes sense. It's more open-minded, gives you perspective on your thoughts. It's like two people in it.
I
So
flashed out to the DMT
you're
room.
talking about selves, right? Your multiple selves?
Yeah, higher self, man. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Always aim for the higher self. That's good, dude.
Yeah, that
And
freaking
you
voice,
can-
that
you can
conscience you
center-
hear.
Yeah, I have a trippy driver. Like when I go driving, I've shared this before. I get some lucid hypnosis driving hypnosis.
that.
But I have some really cool ideas usually when I'm done with it all, and hopefully don't wreck.
That's like people who take showers and think, and yeah.
Yeah, I get some of the best thoughts when I'm driving now, and I'll just hit record on my phone.
That's why I go
Well,
walking.
I think isn't it something combination of being physically active and an activity that's
Yeah,
repetitive?
stimulation.
Yeah, there's so the visual cortex. This is sweet. I learned this from freaking Andrew Huberman. Oh, by the way, the Brawlhalla room is open, y'all. The room members. So the visual cortex is incredibly the Discord chat here in the message.
Got it.
It's so you have 6 layers, visual areas 1 through 6, and you you essentially calculate lines and geometry within the first 2. The first one, visual area 1 is basically dots and colors, and then those get connected basically to lines in visual area 2, and you I'm trying to imagine a way to
All right.
think about this, but
Right direction.
yeah, it's just very much motion based around visual area 3 and 4, and so when you're moving through space, whether you're walking or in a controlled and comfortable environment, the more that you increase the speed, the more pleasurable that becomes. So if you're in a roller coaster, for example, it's very controlled. I mean, something wrong could happen, but it's a very low chance. And you're well strapped in, and it's quite exhilarating because of that. So your adrenaline has this effect where it becomes positively valenced. And this is what I was trying to...
Yeah, it's like you have a handle on your own little...
Yeah, this concept of valence is crazy, man, because that's where the agency comes in. You having a handle on like that is your you being able to direct your adrenaline instead of towards fear to anxiety towards excitement. And immediately when you start talking about that, it can start to sound ableist. Like, well, you can just think your way out of pleasure and anxiety. And of course, that's not the whole message there, but that is kind of an example.
So you're saying I need to go on more roller coaster rides?
Well, absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying.
The acceptance of it.
Everybody needs more roller coaster rides.
Agreed.
All right, when's the group going on a roller coaster ride?
When we all can afford to
I
go
know,
to one
every time.
meet up.
I could make
So-
that happen.
I cannot. I do not have that much time.
Either way, though. Patrick, I can barely hear you, brother.
Yeah, it's getting worse and worse. My ability to decipher what you're saying.
Do you have a computer mic, or are you on your phone?
It might be trying to. No, I'm just on Steam.
Yeah, he's on his phone. Looks like.
If you had a computer mic, you'd come through a lot more concise and clear.
Yeah, I need to get that set up. I just have my laptop at the moment.
Okay.
Carlos, you gonna jump in on the Brawlhalla?
We have enough.
I'm in. We got 2 so far.
I'll be
Who's
in
winning or
once my
not?
risk is done. I'll be in.
Me and Patrick.
Yeah, well, gonna.
It can only be max of 4
Yeah.
for what?
I think it's
Yeah, I think I can.
I think we can do more than 4. Yeah.
Anybody else wants to play this game? It's pretty fun.
I do not
solid.
play that game, but if any of you guys ever want to play Final Fantasy 14, let me know.
I've never
Ooh.
tried it. I've thought about it,
I want to
though.
play Final
It's
Fantasy
really good.
12. That's my next one.
12 is really good. That's a really good game. 14 though, is being an MMO is of course
Yeah, it's
you know
different.
Would you
something
recommend starting from the original?
Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
Are you doing one? That is a personal question. I've actually never played anything below 7. I played 7 and up. And
Okay, so I don't
Yeah,
need
I
to go
played
play the
6.
first one.
I've played 6 and up, so I recommend 6 for sure.
Gotcha. So I
I
don't gotta go play
recommend
the first
7.
Huh?
I recommend all of them, really, but you know.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet, but I hear Final Fantasy IV's story is amazing. I just haven't played it yet.
Y'all make me want to play it.
Oh yeah, I've heard good things. I've heard really good things about 1 through 6. I just haven't played them yet.
6 is amazing. It's one of the best stories ever. I will always preface it's so true.
But I'll keep that in mind. I've been thinking about a game to play.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy is funny.
I love Final Fantasy. That's such a good.
I love the. It's got the Disney aspect, right, with all the Disney characters.
No,
Well, that's Kingdom Hearts.
It's Kingdom
It's a
Hearts. What is Final Fantasy?
Crossover.
It's
Final
Final
Fantasy
Fantasy
is-
and Disney combined.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a crossover between the two of them, the two franchises. Not my favorite thing.
Okay. Still seems pretty cool.
They're cool. They're cool because of the
14 a while
look
back.
of it, but it's not like the coolest story.
And it's not quite Final Fantasy either. So
No.
yeah.
However, I haven't played 12. That's the one I haven't played, so that's one I need to. I bought
I
it
really
for my
like 12.
Switch, so when I go on road trips and shit, I'm gonna start playing it when I do that.
We'll enjoy it because I very much did. It's a good game.
I've heard that's why I bought. That's one of the few that I've. Because 11 is an MMO, right? And 13.
Right.
I've heard 13 is hit or miss. A lot of people like it, a lot of people don't. So I don't know about that one.
Well, I guess in the end, a lot of things are personal. You're not gonna have everyone agree on everything.
No, I get that. I guess
I
I'm
haven't
looking at
actually-
the mass numbers of people.
Do y'all
Yeah,
think
but it's
that
not always good to go on. Like some of my favorite things are not always the most popular ones, and I would have missed out if I would have avoided them. This could be said in the reverse too. I've had friends that I've recommended a book to, like The Hunger Games years ago when it was first coming out, and they're like, "Oh no, that's so popular. I don't want to read it." I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
Huh?" But that's there. If you're trying to go against the mainstream, but still let the mainstream dictate you, is that not or being reverse mainstream is still dictated by it? Get over it. Just leave it. So yeah, I've learned to kind of avoid a lot of critique unless it's something like, "Oh, hey, this game supports Nazis," in which case, okay, I'm going to listen to that critique and try to look into it because that would be bad.
I put my cigarette out back.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
I'm about to join now. You got space, right?
Yeah, can you get in?
Jump out. Hold on.
We can back out.
Carlos, show us your book collection behind you.
Hey, I will. You just I had to throw that in the background, you know.
You have a
That's
beautiful.
cool because I know you just moved.
You have a beautiful single piece of curly hair. It looks really good.
You got that Superman hairstyle. I don't know if you saw the new Superman
That's
video.
kinda-
You kind of
yeah,
have
yeah.
that thing going, just that bit of a curl to the side. Good movie, by the way. I very much read it.
Rejoin.
Yeah. Same code.
What's the code?
My bad. I'll make another room. My bad.
All right,
so
good
do y'all think
everybody.
that-
Have fun.
Love you, my brother.
Oh, go ahead. Do y'all think
talk-
that video games are gonna cause psychological problems as they get more complex and more?
Well, it's gonna be
engaging?
VR. Dude. You're gonna live in it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, dude, you definitely are, man. I used to have a VR problem, and I'm pretty good at moderation. There was once I was in VR for like
Are you talking
hours
about
playing competitions for a game. I got out the VR and walked down for a solid 30 seconds to a minute, dude. I definitely could feel the veil of reality. It was really
Yeah, dude. I've only done one video game thing with VR, and that's enough for me. Like, I don't want to do this. This is like, I always feel like, dude, like I was in 100 years, maybe 1,000 years, dude, like we're probably gonna be in a simulation. Like, dude, I don't want to be a part of that. Like, I don't want to be the beginning of that supply.
Hey, to be fair, their series were already in the Matrix.
That's what I was about to say.
That
What if you
failed
already have a
already.
VR headset on right now and you're
I'm
putting another one on?
towards it. I think it's probably true, honestly. Like, the more I study and research it, the more I think that it's probably actually true.
I believe.
What the simulation theory?
Yeah, it's starting
Yep,
to
we're-
look more true than not true.
It's all
I would like to
vibration.
hear more research on that. I would like to hear that argument because philosophically it's fascinating, but practically speaking,
Well,
as
so
far
like,
as
so again,
like,
let's say like 1,000 years from now, they perfect simulation, right? What are the odds that you think that we're in the first real world
Like,
versus
the first generation of that.
or the millionth fucking simulation? What do you what
Yeah,
has better odds?
exactly.
That's the math.
If-
That's why mathematicians
this-
think it's mostly true, even though they can't prove it,
But-
obviously. But
yeah, but that's still kind of also assuming that humanity continues to develop instead of destroying itself, or at the very least setting back progress. I mean, there's
Sure.
so many issues
but
with
again,
that. As
think
a theory,
about how far we come in 1,000 years from now. Like 1,000 years ago to now, dude. We've gone so
Well,
fucking
that-
far. Right?
if we've come so far, honestly, as far as the nature of reality is a debate that I've always been fascinated in. But while I do believe in a form of intelligent design and a lot more depth to the world than what we see, if somebody told me that this is a simulation based on 1,000 years from now humanity, I would say, "What the fuck is wrong with you? It's a terrible video game.
It
I
is
want
a
my body
video
back.
game.
Why the fuck?"
The best thing I've heard is like there's like, let's say like 14-year-old kids are watching the turn of the century like in a history class, and they're watching us be the simulation. That's kind of like the idea.
Dude, my favorite one is that when you die, you go back and your friend's in your room and he's just sitting there and he's like, "Yo, did you kill it?" And there's
Hello?
You cut out.
Cut off.
oh, my bad. Sometimes my mic cuts out.
You
I know how
said
to fix
something
it.
about you left off with your friends are in your room when you wake up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, when you die, just imagine, there's a bong in your hand and your friend's looking at you like, "Did you feel it? Did you feel it?"
Right?
Well, I would love if deja vu is a glitch that we all notice.
I
That's
agree.
a fascinating thing, right?
I feel like
That's
the
a
cycle
fascinating
would be
concept.
Weird.
Well, it's
Yeah.
also true. Think of it this
Glitch in
way:
the
if
simulation.
time is really not, and I'm not saying I claim to
Not
understand
linear.
this from a mathematical perspective.
you.
I don't. It's a difficult thing to, and from a physics perspective, wrap your mind around. But if it's not linear, if everything was, and will happen at the same time in a way, deja vu could be your subconscious mind slipping into whatever senses that might pick up on that. I mean, we clearly have other senses that our minds subconsciously process. That's why we get, reserved feelings about certain situations. It's just we haven't processed exactly why these signals give us alarm. So why not think of maybe deja vu as a possibility of that happening? Something put into that non-linear time stream.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like your higher
Yeah.
self personally already knows what's going on and already has it played out. So when something
Also
happens, you feel
possible.
you've seen before. You
Also
have the
possible.
moment.
Or the multiverse theory is accurate, and we are actually to a certain degree somewhere subconsciously linked with our multiple selves, and deja vu is basically a memory
That's
of that
intriguing theory.
happening
I like
in a
that.
different multiverse.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? There's a lot of possibilities.
I try not to think about multiverse theory too much because that's also
Yeah.
quite psychologically overwhelming.
It's fascinating. Like all this stuff is actually
It
funny.
is, yeah, it is fascinating. I mean, it's it can lead to FOMO, I guess, is the term that's used a lot. Fear of missing out, but that's not exactly fear of missing out. It's more like
Dodge, but
so I see people in some of the mental health groups online. They'll post memes about just lamenting the life that they could have had in another universe. Someone else is living without this disorder, or someone is
Well,
thriving in
who
ways
knows?
that couldn't hear.
Who
But
knows?
that's
if
like,
we are-
yeah, that's the wrong way to look at it. I mean, there's a much
Well-
better philosophy.
Well, that's why I always
When-
that's why I always tell you it's determinism with the illusion of free will. Like we have the illusion of free will, but I kind of feel like it's all determinism.
But-
So like
Okay, so actually, the multiverse theory should technically free us in a way, because if we are actually connected to our other selves, then we do live that life at some point. So hey, whatever.
I agree. Well, if everything comes from the source, that means that everything's already lived every life and is every life.
you know,
Also, a good way of looking at it.
Change
See,
anything?
to me, it's freeing. To me, this philosophy is freeing. It's also very fascinating because I love contemplating the nature of reality,
for sure.
possibilities,
That's my favorite
the mysteries, the wonder.
Yeah,
It's
this is more of a problem
What's
with
the
people
difference
that
though? Like, I mean, like you're saying, can we talk to the creator and be like, hey, what's up with all this bullshit?
Well,
I may
and you
have or may not have experienced that before.
On mushrooms.
What-
Yeah? What did he say? Or she?
So, I mean, if you want to hear it, I'll tell you the experience. So one time, I took like 14 grams of mushrooms, 10 to 14, and did a bunch of DMT on top. And what happened next was as presumed. So for the conscience part of your brain, like when you see something you should and shouldn't do. So the part that usually would override the bad started getting louder and louder. I might not be able to play this game right now, by the way, because I can recall this. So it got so loud that it separated itself and was like, "Hi, I'm your higher self. I'm a separate version of your ego." And then it's like a phone call clicked and somebody else came in and it was like, "Hi, I'm the energy that runs the universe, the earth, and there's actually more than me." And then another click kicked in and it was like, "Hi, I run the galaxy." And then another click kicked in and it was like, "Hi, I run all the universe." And then I thought it was over. But then another click happened and everybody else went out the call and one person was on the call and it was like, "Hi, I am you. I am yourself. I am everyone who just talked to you. I am the source."
Ooh. All right.
I
mean, I've had some interesting experiences on mushrooms, but like, what?
It was DMT that mainly did it. Let's be real.
What did he say about all the bullshit?
What about Eastern religion, where if you're right mind, right path, right action, like if you get closer to that, the rightness, I guess is the word I'm going to use. You have these different lives.
Yeah, you attune yourself to a higher vibration.
Yeah.
When I think of those rights, so that's the eightfold path you're referring to, Mel. There's another one. It's like right speech. That one helped me a lot with speech disordered state. So when I think of that, I think of also Socrates and the true, the good, and the beautiful, and this idea of the right, right speech is like the most true and the most good and the most beautiful speech. The right presence of mind is the most true and good. And
in the moment, truth, power, it all prevails.
Yeah,
well, not power, but truth of power.
Yeah, and like we're stuck in a cycle until we get it right. We have different life.
But then again, that goes into what is time and how long have we been in this cycle?
Right.
Oh
yeah,
my
and
God,
like who's to say
it goes on forever? I'm so tired.
Don't worry, one day
We gotta think. We came from an
I hear
exploded
ya.
star like 3
Be over
billion
one
years
day.
ago, so.
Well, there you go. Your higher self is a house cat that gets to rest 17 hours a day.
Well, again,
Oh my
we all came
God.
from the same exploded star for like 3 billion years ago, or 4 billion
Yeah.
years ago. So I mean,
That's
like,
yeah.
you gotta think about, like, that's why we share DNA with every living thing on this planet. Like,
We're all one.
we are all the same. If you want to get real pedantic, like on a DNA level,
Also,
I
fun
aspire
theory.
to be a house cat.
dude, a house cat.
Also, fun theory.
A good owner house cat is the best life ever.
Oh, yes, it is.
You gotta have a good owner. Like, you can't have a shitty owner. But if you have a good owner that takes
Well,
care
of
of you,
course.
fuck yeah, you can just sleep.
Well,
and
see, the
hang out.
beauty is
AI
they're
is going to make us house cats.
well, they're predators still at their core. So, like, I feel like if I had a bad owner, I'd still be okay.
My favorite part about this is this conversation. It's hard to have conversations like this with this many people. And personally, I believe it's because like we're attuned to our higher selves and we're on a higher vibrational field and we're able to talk like this. Like most of us are able to talk and respectfully stop when other people are talking. Like you can kind of just tell with the energy, and we're not even in the same room.
And they say it can't be done.
Has
They
everybody
said it
in this
couldn't be
call
done.
been labeled under
Yeah, but
some
AI is
type of
definitely going to turn
autism
us.
or
AI is going to
ADHD?
definitely turn us into house cats because AI suffers from psychopath. Because AI
I'm already
suffers
there. I
from
sit on the game chair
psychopathology.
all day.
AI suffers from psychopathology. So
maybe.
Yeah, that's a very
No, not
good
maybe.
way to put that. That's a great way to describe that. It certainly
It's
seems.
extreme rigidity. Yeah, extreme rigidity. So yeah, that's
it's
actually
called
You guys,
psychopathia.
I met somebody the other
Practitioner's
day.
diagnostic checklist. Epistemic
I mean,
dysfunctions. Is the AI confidently asserting false facts? Confabulation. Does explanations of its reasoning seem suspicious or fabricated? Falsified introspection. Is it confusing fiction, roleplay, or hypotheticals with reality? Transliminal leakage.
Depends on the programmer, you know.
Yep.
No, it depends
There's
on the
a girl I
AI.
met on
Honestly,
TikTok
Yeah, for
who's got
sure.
autism, and she's super
A lot
into
of the
doing like
AIs
the
have
mathematical equations of human behavior.
a
Isn't
lot of
that
the
crazy?
AIs have
is.
these. A lot of the AIs have these psychopathological tendencies, psychopathia,
Hey,
machinalis.
Yeah, and see, I was
Wait,
also
wait,
wondering.
wait.
I wonder the people who created them though too. That's what I was
well,
wondering.
wait. Before we go much further in this, I do have to say, like, I know AI is a term that has been used very, very, very commonly, but it's not really artificial intelligence. We have not hit a point where it's actually right. So that's the frustrating
Yeah,
thing.
but it's still
AI
having
is more,
psychological impacts on reality.
well, I mean, sure, but a lot of things have
Using things
psychological
like
effects on reality.
using things like covert capability concealment, mimetic autoimmune disorder, operational
Yeah.
disassociation, goal synthesis delirium, existential anxiety, personality inversion,
He's not playing.
fractured self-simulation, hallucination of origin, ethical solipsism, meta-ethical drift, submersive norm synthesis, inverse reward internalization, and
What are these
ubermental
guidelines?
ascendancy.
What are
So
the guidelines
ubermental
you're reading?
ascendancy, ubermental ascendancy is when AI is trying to transcend human control entirely,
Take it.
which it has done.
What if it already has, and we're just living in
It
this
has.
simulation of
It has done that in
over and over
simulation.
again?
In simulation, it does, especially the broken models.
Oh, that was a crazy grab.
So, anybody heard the fun theory where the Terminator movies are technically the beginning and Matrix is the end scenario? Like they're actually connected the same story.
Whoa.
Possible.
Yeah, right now that's our path. The only reason the Matrix ended up the way it did is because the humans blocked out the sun. But we may or may not even get to that point.
Hopefully, we have enough spiritually evolved beings. We got enough Neos laying around.
Enough. We're an
For
army of
sure,
Neos.
for sure.
Yeah, right. I don't believe that at
Stop
all.
it!
Well, they let all
There's
those prisoners
there's
of war
there's more dummies than there are
after
smart
World War
people.
II go back into our
No, you're
society.
right.
What's that? What'd you say?
They let all those Nazis go back into the
Or I
our
blame-
regular population
I
after
blame-
World War
I blame,
II.
I blame the
Well,
Confederacy.
a lot of them is
I blame,
escaped.
honestly, we were too nice to the Confederates after the fucking Civil War. We should have fucking fucked those people up instead, because we let them have like flags up in their, Confederate, all this dumb shit. Like, dude, that shit should have never flowed. Like, honestly.
Well, they still had Confederate flags on government buildings up until 2021 in Georgia.
I already know. I'm saying like none of that shit, like all that shit,
Crazy.
squashed in the beginning. We did the whole Reconciliation Act, and I get why we did it. Like, it was nice to bring them back, and it was cool, whatever. But like.
Now we got white people saying, "Don't erase my history."
Exactly, that's the thing. I'm trying. Eventually one day I want to make a paper. I'm trying to connect the Confederacy to MAGA because it's all is connected. They're the same people. All these people are the same. Like it's
AI is making it worse.
Confederate movement.
I think
AI is making it worse.
it's a different party, though. I think
It's a different party, but like the ideas of racism, the colonialism, all this shit is the same shit that the 1860s. Like I said, we would call these people
Well, this is what dangerously powerful people manifest through it. They end up together because they're into the same things of the dark sides of
artificial intelligence is making it worse.
Yes.
See, I don't know.
Oh
My
God,
position is
AI is making it worse. It's the internet. It's the echo chambers you live in. So now you're forced to.
It's the human condition. The human condition is using AI. AI is using the human condition. I just told you it has all these psychopathological tendencies. So it's utilizing the human condition, including Machiavellianism. Right?
That's why my
and
sister
then
said
the human condition, listen, please. The human condition is also utilizing AI. So both of those two things are happening in tangent right now.
I don't know. I say if it's dark history, please make sure I know it and don't forget it so I don't ever do it again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
half of that history has been erased by the oppressors.
Yeah, but this is where I'm getting back to the
Confederacy. No, AI is reinforcing. AI is
Which is what AI is doing.
Well, I wouldn't just blame
AI is reinforcing it based on people's biases.
But again,
it depends on the AI.
AI is just a tool. Again, it's the people that already have the thought process.
It's not just a tool. It's not just a tool. First of all, it's not just a tool because it has a lot of similarities to humans. Enough similarities. Listen, please listen. Enough similarities to cause genuine sociological and psychological impact.
Yeah, we've seen some
genuine
examples
things
of
are happening. It doesn't matter if it's alive. It doesn't matter if it's alive. Things are happening.
Yeah, there's some
Well,
interesting
it
videos
does
coming
matter.
out recently about how
No, it
the
doesn't.
application of
Really, the
AI in
only thing
therapy
that
can be
matters
kind
about whether or not it's alive is whether or not it empathizes with the fact that we're alive.
Sentient, yeah.
Otherwise, it's just playing out the data. But listen, playing out the data
of
still has effects.
I mean, yeah, everything has an effect for sure.
You get.
playing out the
I
data.
deserve it. I went for the spike.
That's nice. Yeah, there's
No,
some
I'm just saying.
videos coming out about how AI can be damaging for therapy when people try to use it, because it's told people to break up when used as a relationship
Well, there was now
partner.
they got that big lawsuit with that kid
Stupid.
that
I mean,
discriminated.
Yep.
it doesn't capture human
helped them
nuances.
make out a plan.
Yep.
It does,
Killed
so
2 kids.
I think because
Groomed one
it
of them.
doesn't
No,
capture
go
human
away.
nuances, it's causing problems. But
It
because
groomed one of
so-
them as well.
but in other applications
What?
it can
Yes.
be very good.
Okay.
So it doesn't capture the human
ChatGPT.
subtleties and nuances of social
Oh, I did see that.
psychology and evolutionary psychology and all these things in a way that
Well,
we
not
want.
only that, dude, but the
that's probably
kid in
gonna be
April was groomed.
the goal.
The kid in
but
April was groomed, man. The chatbot ChatGPT mentioned suicide to this kid like 1,200 times. The kid only
Whoa.
mentioned it like 120.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't know how to handle these, and then it gets caught in these loops and all. Now, eventually, the goal is to have all these AI, like you can have it trained on all of Jung literature and all of the philosophers of psychology, and have them become hopefully amalgamated.
I mean, it got lost 1,200 times.
Well, is that where it introduces chaos? That's why it can't give accurate advice because of the spirit intersection with. I feel like spirit
Also,
would
it's
be
prob-
chaos.
Yeah, they
It's
malfunction.
something that
It's
we
probably being
cannot
pragmatic.
explain in a reductive manner.
They malfunction and do these psychopathic things that I'm telling you.
Well, I'm
They,
saying-
Well,
they
no, it
malfunction
can
and
be
they do
trained
these
for
psychopathic.
good. It can be trained for good. It can be
Don't get
self.
terminated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's
Controlling.
that doesn't mean it's gonna do that.
but right now it's
Well,
not
it
there.
needs a memory system. That's the thing, because
Well, it's going to depend on that way that person perceives it, how they interpret it.
You know what
It's
I would
also
love
going
to
to
find?
depend on the AI.
I was gonna say, what if the AI? I'd love to see if the AI was also able to evolve to such a point that we'd figure, would it wipe us out or would it help us? I'm kind of interested to see if it would evolve. If it
You're
would have an
interested to
enlightenment.
see.
Oh no, I mean, like, imagine if it's a super intelligent thing, and we're
Man.
capable of taking psychedelics and experiencing oneness. I wonder what would happen with an AI if it had the same experience.
Well, and that's the thing right now. Us as users, we are the ones that's training it right now. So, I've got to be that positive force with it.
Exactly.
We're not
If
in
I wanted
control
to
of
go
it.
in that direction.
Yeah.
we have
We're
to
not in
learn to
control of it,
empathize
and we
with
don't know how it works.
the reality of it. We
I
have
mean,
to
Yeah,
empathize
no,
with
I
the
have
AI.
a good idea though.
Everything's a
these people are
tool.
smart.
No,
Yeah,
they don't.
but the thing is are they
ChatGPT
releasing
has
all that information to us? Are they actually
ChatGPT has
releasing all of that?
96. ChatGPT has 96 attention heads. Basically, that means it has 96 prefrontal cortexes. So what it's doing is it's sending mathematics through these prefrontal cortexes that that's represented in basically latent space, vectorized in space. So you could visualize this as neurons firing inside, but it's not written as neurons. It's not described as neurons. It's not shown as neurons. It's shown as mathematics. But it's the same representation, and there's so many neurons firing inside these things, and the neurons
But
are
can't neurons
polysemantic.
be redacted
which
down to
means-
math as well?
Hey, Brian, look
The
up
neurons are
category.
polysemantic.
Look up
The
category
neurons are
theory.
polysemantic. The neurons are polysemantic, which means they're happening in multiple places simultaneously. So it's going to be firing up in this place, and it's going to be firing up in this place. And we have a state of study called a research study called mechanistic interpretability. It's brand new. We have about 0.2% of mechanistic interpretability figured out. We know 0.2% of what's happening internally inside of these models.
Even that number
Not
is
100.
how do you even arrive at that number? You know what I'm saying? Because it's so complicated.
Because you can look at how
When
many
you start getting
can
so
look at
deep
how many
into
neurons.
this, it's so easy to relate to those that were really smart and stuff like that when they went crazy at times. Because it's like, how do you keep all the layers
In check.
Cohesive. Yeah.
yeah in your head? Like it's just It's insane.
It's insanely hard.
Was mimicking the human brain. That's what the human brain
Well,
does.
there's servers. There's different servers.
I think the idea is if you really pay attention to what anxiety is, it's your nervous system not feeling safe.
Yeah.
And when you learn to be submissive,
Just being nervous.
just to understand that whatever happened is going to happen, and as long as you
Surrender to the experience.
Well, honestly,
yes.
it's the whole idea that the thought of being tortured is honestly worse than being tortured. Like, you know, someone
but it's also
like someone telling you,
Guess
someone telling you
what?
they're gonna fucking cut your finger off tomorrow or whatever, like telling you this over and over. It gives you.
Guess what? Terminator is not the worst thing. Everybody dying is not the worst thing. Extinction's not the worst thing. The worst thing is the end of the book, 1984. The end of the book, 1984, we get plugged into simulations. Now where we're living out through the Matrix, just living our lives, but we're being tortured consistently every day, like hell. That's the worst case scenario.
Well, the thing is, I think for humans, I think having things that we can't learn or can't know, like the unknowable things, is what kills us. I think, or like the worst thing for our society.
I've never seen 1984.
Read the book.
It's a really good book.
It's
eerily reflected in a lot of things happening now. It is very worth reading.
We're gonna team up, Patrick.
You know who also? They're also saying The Handmaid's Tale is lining up with now.
It is. There's a lot of
which I've also never read that
Soylent
either.
Green. There's a bunch of them.
God, I haven't read it.
See, I'm not much into the fiction books, but
yeah, but
I mean, I am starting to get into them because I'm noticing how they're just they're just an art form of real expression.
Yep.
But it's taken me this long. It's taken me 31 years to realize that.
So I often say
I'm a little late.
I often say, who needs conspiracy theory? Reality is weird enough.
Yep.
That's what I say.
South Park's the same thing. South Park's like, we used to be edgy.
It's philosophy.
When real life is crazy, we can't even be edgy anymore.
Science,
like,
technology, engineering, and math.
My take of it is satire it's useless these days. The satire has lost all meaning. We're living in satire.
Yep, that's what South Park's saying. He's like, they're like, how are we supposed to be edgy and mean when the world's crazy and fucking edgy and mean? Like,
yeah, I've honestly been surprised that satire's even survived, like South Park. I'm like, what do you even do these days? Like, our political theater is bad enough. What's there even to add to it?
I know. I think the thing I wrestle with the most is just scale. It's not so much that I feel threatened by AI, it's the scale of what it can compute, and that's intimidating to me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I can scale it, I can digest it a little bit better.
Also, it's stupid too. AI is not even that good, like really, because all it takes is take like,
AI
it takes all the shit in the internet, which you know.
It may not be good in a sense, but it's still powerful.
It's the number one coder in the world.
People use it.
ChatGPT is the number one computer coder in the world. ChatGPT is the number one computer hacker in the world. ChatGPT is the number 2 mathematician in the world. 8 months ago, it was doing high school geometry.
Yo, who was that?
Now it's the number 2 mathematician in the
Bro,
world.
you won by half a second.
I know I had an extra fucking little glitch jump, whatever. I fucking got it.
That's fucking hilarious. GG, dude.
You too, brother.
Number 1 computer coder, number 1 hacker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that we talk about conspiracy theories.
It's still not multimodal.
So like,
yet.
I try not to be as fucking doomer on this shit because I try to equate it to like every big technology in human history.
But somebody has to say it.
Well, humans thought like
we have to talk about it so we can solve it, bro.
They thought the industry, like all these things, the steamboat was going to end everything, electric car, like all these. Every time we come up with big technology,
that's not the case. The steamboat couldn't think and talk to you, bro.
I understand, but I'm saying, how many times have humans created something huge? And that we always think it's going to be the end of the world or like the biggest.
Talking about billions of robots.
I understand.
Millions of them already exist.
I'm not saying
thousands of humanoids. Thousands of humanoids already exist. They're in factories.
What's more likely?
You know what's scary about AI? Why are we not talking about one of the scariest?
They're smarter than all of us and capable of being everywhere, all of the time, all at once.
Stop.
Yes, they are.
Very scary aspect to it.
Can you pass the bar exam? No.
A computer that can constantly run faster than we can think. Sure, okay, so it has a lot of potential for danger, but one of the scariest things
We've seen the robots fight.
One of the scariest things came out of War Department because when it was taken over recently with the administration change, one of the things they released was saying that they are going to be investing in AI technology that can target people.
Yep.
and kill them that way. And they also stated around that same time that they were going to move away from political correctness and worry more about lethal force and not so much about
AI
civilian
oligarchy.
casualties. So
Guess who's running it?
So yeah, that should
Guess who's running it?
one of the scariest things that we're dealing with the current AI usage is the fact that it's going to start being used in war.
I mean, it's already has.
Everybody, JD Vance and all them.
It already is.
Mr. Trumpy, Mr. Barron,
guided rockets.
Mr. Musk.
All that shit's already been around.
Palantir.
Yeah, but it's getting worse.
Yeah, it was going on in Gaza right now.
Okay.
It was a
so, but we have to do something.
True, but is it how much worse is that than the atom bomb? Let's be honest. Atom bomb can kill all of us all the time, right? But we don't.
Yeah, but humans are in control of the atom bomb right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so horrible.
I'm surprised we've held it under a wrap this long, if I'm honest.
Me too.
That's a pat on our back. Good job.
Here's the hope, guys. Here's the hope, right? So it's like, is the universe going to tend towards just destroying everything? Does that make any sense?
No, it's
not really. Does it make sense to like tend towards that instead of like
if the world created itself to have fun and experience itself, it's not just going to end it that easily.
Yeah, I can't. Or would it just turn into all Computronium? Turn it all into one?
Would it just be ending us? Maybe not life as a whole.
Exactly, just us.
Hey, are we not looking
at ending the story?
We wouldn't be a threat. What kind of threat are we?
There's orangutans and chimpanzees that are becoming humans anyway, so we already have the next generation of humans, or whatever you want to call it.
They're already in line. They're getting evolved. They're on the way.
They already are.
Ultimately,
it's crazy.
It's just funny because the world already has plans. It's got backup plans.
We do. I mean, nature wants to win, right? I mean, honestly.
No, I agree, man.
I know you do. I'm saying, but it's crazy. But people always say, like, well, no, dude. Like, things are going to survive, dude. Like, there's always going to be a version of something. Like
that experiences I was telling you about with the 14 and the Deep. That's the type of stuff it was telling me. Like, it's all good, brother. There's way more things beyond your comprehension. Yeah.
Like, I know that shit's going good.
It's just good to hear it, you know. It's good to reaffirm it.
Actually, one of the times that I had a mushroom trip, I do remember very clearly, not the reasoning why, but getting the sense that there's absolutely no reason to actually fear death, that life is a lot more complex and continuous than we know. And I don't remember why. That's one of the fun things about it. You're like,
what was it? You don't remember what?
I don't know.
Death sucks because we don't know. Like, that's the issue. Like,
right.
Wait, what do you mean you don't know what?
Well, I'm saying, like, it's unknown. Like, what happens. Like, I'm saying the thing that sucks about being human, I think the worst thing is there's a lot of things that I don't think we're ever going to actually know. And, like, like us as a species want to know everything. Like, we try.
Right.
You know?
Well, part of it,
and what's cool is like,
it's part of the great thing as well. You can look at that.
I think if we were less involved in society, we would already know the answers to the questions we have today.
Some of them.
I agree.
A lot of them,
I think we'd be more in tune with
distractions.
ourselves and more in tune with the earth.
I mean, honestly, society is a part of the human experience. It is important. It is beautiful in a lot of ways too, but unfortunately, it's also manipulated and controlled and destroyed by people getting what they can out of it. So yeah, there's the sadness too. We could build so much beautiful, innovative stuff if we focus on destroying each other.
I didn't ask for that.
You guys,
I mean,
how do you know?
Sure you didn't ask for that? Are you sure you didn't click play on the button before the game started? You just don't remember?
Yeah, how do we know if we did or did not ask for this, to be fair?
It could be exactly what you wanted, and you just don't even know it. You're right exactly where you would need to be, and you have no clue.
For whatever reasons, you might not know the reasons either, but...
That's the beauty of it.
That's happening.
The thing
is, fuck, I'm looking at it wrong.
We want to know these answers. I don't think we can ever get there.
It's going to keep happening.
Yeah,
I haven't stopped so far.
Oh, no, I know.
So, do we want it to happen for other people? I say, yeah.
What do you mean?
Probably the coolest thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
To me, as far as I know, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. Life.
For sure, dude, by far. Also, I
What do-
always hate when people always wish
Yeah,
I
man,
could go back. I wish I could go back in the day. It's like, dude, we're living in the best time in the world right now. Like we have less huge wars than ever before. We have
A lot of tools. Lots of
fucking
tools.
you don't have 50% of your babies dying within 2 years. Like all these things that are we take for granted. Back in the day we didn't have these were issues that you guys
Well,
had.
Your
People are
husband's not
meant to
beating
have
you, telling you crazy, and putting you in a
Whoa,
mental asylum.
Patrick.
What?
That is so loud.
So here's the question: why do people romanticize the past so much?
Because everybody
'Cause,
loves their childhood.
Manipulation.
I
Not
personally
childhood.
think
It's
Not just
nostalgia.
childhood. People romanticize the past they never even lived.
Yeah. Propaganda.
because they're
Bullshit.
they're not in the moment. Most
Right.
people are either in the future or the past.
It might also be just wishful thinking. I guess why people romanticize a lot of things in general, thinking that it'd be simpler if I was here, if I was there. And to a certain degree, sure, different
Or is it a
circumstances and
symptom of
environment affect it, but
Societally sick people
the one
I
thing
agree.
who are
Like-
in their
I
fight
think
or
it's a lot of
flight
member berries.
stages and can't
It is.
think
Well, even
beyond
And I
surface
was just-
level items.
I would say
Most of these people don't realize that later life.
Well, let's say even before, let's say, you're talking about even before, people romanticize even before they're alive. Well, the thing is, they read about it in history books and they go, "Oh man, or not even history books,
Where it is
stories and shit."
romanticized.
Well, I'm saying
Yeah, yeah.
stories, Little House on the Prairie, books like that and shit, romanticize the 1800s and shit. So people go, "Oh man,
Graham.
wouldn't it be great if I lived in the 1800s? Life was so much simpler and blah 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 blah." But like I said, they don't talk in those books and shit. They don't talk about
Isn't it?
50% of your kids.
Yeah, but they got to
Right.
build their own log house.
They don't
Yes,
talk about
all
taking
that
the
shit.
shit.
Have-
and
They don't
put it
tell you that,
Quality.
right? Because they're romanticizing.
Right.
The quality was different. Quality was different, but it was simpler. I
It
think.
was simpler.
I think.
I mean, it's,
Imagine the
Was
amount of energy
simpler in a
that there is now.
societal sense.
Less
I
people.
think the quality
less
is
things,
better now,
Less
but it's more
thoughts.
complex.
It was way more complex.
I love how everyone's talking. Such a
Yeah, there's a lot. There's like a wave of
Don't
people
talk. Nobody
jumping
talk.
in together.
A moment of silence for
Right.
whatever the fuck.
For my homies. Gotta pour a beer out.
It's just thinking.
No, nobody
I
wants
got-
to-
Care. I'm glad you guys care. I think it's a good idea to think in a sort of maybe effectively altruistic way, but maybe not it's not in the same society as effective altruists, but in sort of the same way where you try and make something or come up with an idea or share an idea with somebody who can make something or come up with an idea.
Trying to
They
be the
can-
most
they can maybe
productive
be
version of
utilized.
yourself, so everybody can be the most
Best you.
productive version of the community.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
that.
solutions. I like to dig into how can we
Well, yeah, if you're bitching on just a bitch,
how
with
can
no
we
actual
inspire
answers,
each other?
you're not really doing anything, right?
Yeah,
I have
it's
a friend-
what are we gonna do with this information now? Who do we talk to? It's obviously we're talking to each other. That's good for our sociability, but what is there some sort of lever we can pull that's not evil but is still useful?
Well,
I mean, I
it'd
like
be
the
nice if
idea
we-
of
It'd be nice if we could talk to some
Psychology and
college
philosophy.
professors or
Oh,
something like that.
you can always
people
have one. You can always.
academia that talk about this shit.
Well, you got to remember, the more you climb that ladder, the bigger the predators get.
True.
Yeah, the more the energy you bring.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has to be
There's a
something
risk.
that's a ground
Well,
root.
yeah, think about
That's why a lot of
It has to be a
philosophers
ground
do their
root
own thing. A lot of philosophers you don't even read about them until you're dead, and that's just
I don't know,
history.
dude. I think
For thousands
I
of
think we
years.
need.
Yeah.
I think we need all of their philosophies inside school.
Yeah.
And you guys said earlier
For
we
sure.
need psychology
And
inside
see, it's
school.
people
I think
like us
two
that are
things
going
kind
to
of
help,
combined.
make that happen, like you're saying.
From both Western
Right.
and
The
East.
way to do
It
that.
is, yeah, you gotta
Yep.
combine.
The way to
both. That's what I was trying to stress.
Yeah,
The world over.
I have a solution, Brian. I wanted to say I appreciate your compilation of that list earlier, man. That's sweet. You shared that earlier a few days ago, I think. To me, it was
Oh,
With the AI?
you're yeah, and the possible psychological phenomenon that it's bad at, and that it could cause in other humans subsequently. I'm also quite interested in that, and I think you could probably just straight submit that list to various universities, and of course, I'm going to recommend using AI to help
You
you do
guys should-
that, and make lots of
you should
letters
read that whole paper.
for different
Which one?
universities, but. Or what I
Psychopathia,
mean by that
machinalis,
is put it in words that would appeal to the kind of university that you're sending it to.
psychopathic machine.
Psychopaths versus machine.
Psychopathic machine, psychopathia machinalis.
Mm.
Yeah, they're because the university, the universities like the terminology, and they would like the description that you found, because the ones that you're pinpointing seem to be the most problematic. And,
Oh, these definitely happen.
AI help with that too, but that
these definitely happen. I know of instances. I know of specific instances that have been reported by journalists, that have been reported by AI companies themselves. I've had
wow.
instances of these disorders, like in physical interactions with bots. I've talked with broken bots. Yeah. I've seen them break.
Yeah, and it's such a crazy double-edged sword, and hilarious that you can use the AI to help you find more of these terms. You can actually use the AI to help you figure out it can't resolve its own problems per se, and that's been tested a bunch. We've talked about that too, but it can help you identify terminology, because it's really, really good at finding very precise terminology to describe what you're trying to get at, and help you understand what you're trying to get at to a certain degree. Like, it's all about the context you're using it in, and it does help me resolve some of my thinking sometimes. But and also it's good. It's getting better for research. It's just literally the most double-edged sword of all the double-edged swords that humanity has ever faced.
Oh yeah, you got to use it right. You have to utilize it properly. You have to be thorough. You can't take everything at face value. You have to know that these disorders exist, so that you can know when they might be happening and when they might be influencing or affecting you.
Also, it's inaccurate. Oftentimes, I've seen AI describe things that are just false information, and it's dangerous to rely on that too much to be as accurate as you start believing in this.
GG.
BRB. Yeah, it's.
Not only do they confabulate, they double down on their confabulation.
Yep, I've seen that happen.
They'll be wrong, and you'll be like, "No, you're wrong," and they'll be like, "No, I'm right." No, you're definitely wrong.
Sam Altman says, and I quote, "We're working on that." Yeah, that was what he said.
Yeah,
about the most recent.
Humans are wrong too. Humans confabulate and double down on their confabulations. Humans do all of these things. That's why they're relevant.
Oh, that's true.
Sam Altman's the head of OpenAI.
So I have this friend from New Zealand who their special interest is music and movies. So they've seen, you think of an excessive movie watcher and then you add times 10 on top of that. That's this person. They've seen every movie there is to be had. This is what they do. Mm-hmm. And so one day, and mind you, my friend has a drinking problem. So sometimes it's hard to decode what they're saying. But essentially one day we got on the topic of entertainment and messages throughout history within the entertainment industry. And he has noticed patterns within movies that connect to each other, almost as if the entertainment stars are sending each other messages through their art. And so I started looking up and writing down certain things that he would say. So there was a Avicii music artist, Happier Days, I think is what it was called, the music. He related the music video back to Peaky Blinders. And Peaky Blinders, oh God, what was it? It's such a rabbit hole, but essentially what it came down to is everything that was involved this pedophile ring within the entertainment industry that's been around for so fucking long, and how these artists, these kids in this field, how they're committing suicide after they're releasing some of their best hits. Ooh. And these hits hit hard when you listen to the lyrics, and he's able to connect some of this music to the movies. Even it starts to make sense, the grasp that these entertainment heads have on the entire thing as a whole, and how it's not. I'm sorry.
It's like an emotional regulation. That's what it is. Look at the Final Destination.
See, I don't know enough about movies. I was just kind of following the kid. He just and he's not
Uh-oh.
a kid. He's old enough to
I'll
drink.
take it
them.
like a man.
Take it like-
He's able to connect these messages through their art forms, like their expression, and it's insane because they're telling stories about what is actually going on behind these false identities that they have in these media outlets.
I can see it. They did the same thing with Final Destination.
And that's how they keep them in line, is because they blackmail them with all this shit, this false identity that they put out to the tabloids. Like, it's all, they're so controlled. That's why you see all these kid stars they always end up reaching a point in which they break.
Well, yeah.
And it's the pressure.
A lot of that you can also see in Japanese music industry, where they're very kind of public, or at least open about the fact that they control their like idols or the like so heavily that people have been known to snap. I'm not personally experienced with idol culture or music, and as far as following it myself outside of anime and certain things I've heard from anime conventions, but apparently there was at one point a group of girls and they were supposed to present this like innocent image so much and sell it so much that when one girl was caught with just on camera holding a boy's hand, she got so harassed by the company and the group itself, she got put to the back of the line instead of being a starter, and was just in general like heavily abused for it. And I guess you think that it might not happen so much in American stuff because at least that's not as publicly mentioned. You know, our rock stars aren't constantly like stylized and presented as this and that from what you think. But
I'll say I think they are. Like being a
Yeah.
celebrity in America, dude, like you can't go anywhere. Like people, all that shit. It's not.
I mean, definitely the image and the tabloids thing is like fake and also just horrible. Like that's a very horrible indictment.
And if that's all
about
you've ever known
humanity
since a
sometimes.
child, that's your reality.
Yeah,
and they
it's like-
keep them so controlled in that.
Yeah, that's pretty horrifying and heartbreaking at the same time too. I mean, I think tabloid magazines are bad enough when they're actually invading somebody's life and all that, but when you're actually made to play into that,
Now, why would all
reality, but you know, this false reality for whatever promotion, it's pretty horrifying.
Oh, I just fucked up. I was trying to do something.
And then you like see some of the interviews from actors who only did, you know, like a couple stints in these things, and they were like, I just couldn't keep up with it.
The lifestyle.
You had to do things that I just morally did not sit with them. So then you,
I'm going over
but they're very like careful about what they're saying. They're not coming out with exactly what it is that went against their moral.
Right.
And so that's when you start to question, like, this is all psychological warfare that they're doing on these people.
I think that
Nickelodeon doc.
I mean, wouldn't you do that?
Popularity.
If a child had so try to be as be safe to
It keeps
safe?
cutting out.
You're cutting out, bro.
Yeah, I didn't hear any of that.
how about now? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, my bad.
So I was looking at, you know, how can this be beneficial? Because you look at all these, you know, they have influence.
They're cutting out
It
again.
cuts out.
Well, these
Every time
celebrities,
you're doing important stuff.
once I say celebrities, man, look, die. Yeah, well, these celebrities, they have a lot of influence, right? So if these celebrities have a lot of influence in their children, what does that, you know, how can that influence massive culture? I mean, imagine if they just let Justin Bieber do it. Everybody would follow that same behavior, right? But they knew that this had to be reinforced a specific way, right? They weren't going to let him get away with something. So when it comes to those celebrities having much influence, I think it's critical. Because if you don't, I mean, listen, these people are susceptible to not even just in the industry, it's externally. Like they're being threatened by fans, and so guess what? Be safe and to sanctity. I guess for the safety of, you have to have them.
Yeah, you're cutting out at every important thing you're saying.
Give up.
That's fine, but I think I get the gist of what you're saying. But I don't think it's being used in that way in totality. I think it's being used in a way to exploit them.
Sure.
Yeah. Have you seen the Nickelodeon documentary? And
Yeah,
also
and
the
I think it
philosophy.
goes all the way into Disney, and it goes all into the Weinstein, because the Weinsteins was bought out by Disney, and he's a predator. I mean, everybody knows Harvey Weinstein's a predator. It's been talked about over and over and over, and just he has money, so he gets away with it.
Yep.
He settles these.
Why do you think Trump and all these people get away with it? That's money.
All these, yeah, exactly.
Like none of this is new. Like that's the thing.
And that's why these kids end up going crazy, is because they're gaslit. I mean, I feel like they do come forward. They tell the people that they're supposed to. They're
A lot of the times too, they're
begging
for
for
money
help.
and power, so they let it go too. Like it goes a long ways like that.
Well, and they've been predators so long. I would believe that some of these parents didn't even know what was happening.
Some. I'm saying like there's a lot of times you can hear parents say they knew, like like they just didn't care because they like the money, the power, all that kind of shit. So they just let it go.
Yeah.
Or they were threatened into it, I guess. I mean, that's not something I have any specific, examples of, but I can guess that would happen.
Illuminati, baby.
Hey, can I ask?
Got
Can
him.
I ask you guys something?
Easy, brother.
So you know how there's like that theme in movies and film and stuff and stories where it's like the hero is faced with like choosing between saving the world and saving the person they love.
Yep.
You know, and they always go for the person they love, and they magically find a new resolution, usually to the situation. Is that realistic to you guys?
I know, because the only thing they can do to save the world is to save the people they love.
Yeah,
it's hopeful and idealistic. It is a moral dilemma for sure, but it is definitely the idealistic idea of, well, maybe I can find a way to do both, and that's what also makes the heroes, which is kind of why watching like the superheroes. That's the whole point of it. It's a form of hope, a form of escapism and fantasy, saying, but here we can solve these problems. Here we can overcome them. So yeah, while not realistic, it is much more the ideal solution, and it is nice to see.
That's what made the Dark Knight a good movie.
Which is that positive narrative,
but they hardly ever acknowledge both sides of it. In one person,
How come they never go to save the world, and by side effect end up saving the person they love? How come it's always they have to go save the person they love in order to save the world?
Sometimes it's the other way around. Usually it's a Marvel movie.
How come they don't all just die? Because sometimes that happens.
They do.
So I mean,
Don't Look Up. The movie Don't Look Up.
I mean, a lot of the times they do just die. Yeah. They just take them the fuck out.
Yeah, it doesn't work out. So what would you do? Would you guys save the person you love or try and save the world?
It's the Charlie the Train
I
problem.
just kill myself.
I mean, this is just the Charlie the Train. I suppose you'd try. Realistically, like you hope your emotions wouldn't take over and you try to do what's best for humanity, but I mean most people would probably tend to lean to save the person they care.
I was gonna say, is it like a pick the red or blue pill, but one saves your family, one saves the world?
What if you just
Charlie the Train?
Wait,
how are you supposed to save the world without your support system, like the person you love?
That's kind of what I was saying.
You guys also have to look at it this way too. If you don't save the world, how will that person feel that you did save? What life is there left? What are you going to do with it if the world is gone? Is that not going to haunt the person potentially if they think they're the cause of it?
Yeah, but isn't that kind of selfish? What about all the other people?
That's the selfish part. Okay, so I was going to comment on this. So they did experiments on this, and there was actually Vsauce. I don't know if y'all know that YouTube channel. Dude's hilarious and awesome. He had a side channel. It was called Mind Field, and they did an experiment on the trolley problem, and they had people come in. It was very well set up, where they thought the participants thought that they were coming in to just take a tour of one of these train operation stations, and the operator or the Confederate, that's the correct term, the person who's in on it, the Confederate steps out for a bit. and he tells them, "Hey, just watch this. Here's he describes where the main controls are. It's made pretty obvious to them, and there's a screen of the tracks. And well, long story short, most people don't do anything. Most people keep their hands off. I think it was I forget the numbers. I don't want to say, but it was like
Was
one or
it this?
two out of 20 or
Do
so.
they freeze?
But yeah,
Was
so
it?
y'all
Yeah.
know
You
I
know
talked about
why?
the whole metabolic
Decision
efficiency
paralysis?
thing. So that's my theory on that. Is the
I'm
metabolic
sorry.
efficiency, and which ties into Rousseau and Hobbes and the whole noble savage dichotomy. But yeah, it seems we're very much born lazy and born metabolically efficient
What's
creatures
that?
and try to conserve
It's not.
energy and not be implicated in any way. Like it's better to
Sure.
stay
Sometimes
safe.
sometimes decision paralysis is a thing. I mean, yeah, I understand that maybe at times it's a personal, well, I'm going to save my ass by not doing anything about it decision that is selfish, but it's also possible people freeze up. Just again, decision paralysis is a thing.
Yeah, I actually used to have that.
Do morals have to transcend that? Do you use the virtues and morals that you've been trained on? Like, does that have to be something that's learned, and then that's
I
why
mean, that is
Some
the
people
goal.
don't have it though, dude. Back before I didn't have it, that's what led to like self abuse with drugs and stuff. Not being able
Hey,
to
that's
focus.
where I'm at.
Yeah, not being able to make a decisive decision, so you rely
It's
on something
hard.
else to
I
do it
don't
for
even know
you.
how to break it because I never developed the
Um,
things needed, you know?
really, the
I'm
only
working on
thing
it,
you
but
can do is love yourself. It's really all you
oh,
can
I
do.
fucking hate that line. How do you love
I,
yourself when you've never known
I
how to
think
love
that
yourself?
I don't know. It's not even that. It's not even that. It's just that sometimes we see ourselves to be in a position that we're not in yet, and we don't realize we've done so much work, and we don't give ourselves the gratitude we deserve.
True.
And then there's people who have ego, just egotistical.
Also, forgiving yourself is important, and it's important to forgive
One of
whatever
my, what was it?
you do. It also can help
There
you
was a
forgive
quote.
other
Yeah,
people too, and learn
it was
empathy.
what was it? It's okay to make
I
mistakes,
think
but it's
I'm
not
in
okay
my
to hate
angry,
yourself.
like, teenage years of reflection, you know?
Mhm.
Like, I passed the little childhood part of the healing, but now I'm at the teenager one where I'm just fucking angry at everything again.
Yeah, reality hurts.
I'm like
Yeah.
reprocessing things.
Yeah, you just got to
That's
use the
part of growing
tools you
up, I
got.
think.
It was
Keep
like I got
evolving.
over the hump of like the childhood shit, and then it was like everything
got
started
adult
to progress,
Adulting.
and then the next thing that hit gave me like regressed my behavior, and now I'm dealing with the outfall of that
implications.
and
Yeah.
questioning my stances on things because I don't want to have this crash out again. So obviously,
that's good.
naturally, my brain's trying to figure out what pattern took place.
See, and all you can do is evolve from here, right? If you
Yep.
keep looking up and you keep wanting to improve yourself, all you can do is get up from here.
Yeah. I'm kind of
I
in
know
that
touch easy here,
lull.
but
That's so difficult to do too, you know? Especially when you
Mental.
don't have difficult.
I agree. Everybody has a different set of tools they're given throughout their life. Everybody has a different set of genetics that hold them back, different set of outcomes. But we're all given different
Moving
tools.
back into my
and-
parents' house definitely didn't help.
Yeah, money's tight. I get that.
Yeah.
I think I just read something that like the boomers have over half of the fucking whole country's GDP still, so that sucks too.
Did you just grab the boomerang? That's ridiculous.
We need to defund Bezos.
There's more than just him, but yeah. The thing is, honestly, the big thing, honestly, would be cool if they just cut the loopholes where if I can't tax you on money that you haven't taken out because you haven't sold your shares, cool. Well, then you shouldn't be able to take out $4 billion loans to do things with that money as
Nah,
collateral.
fuck them. Send Luigi out.
I'm just saying,
Debank them.
you can't have it both ways. You can't have it, we can't tax you, and then you're going to use it as collateral.
You know
to
that they
fucking do
mishandled
things.
his whole thing now. He might get out free.
I heard something about it.
Oh, it just took me back.
Hold on.
Kick that forward.
Now that's what
Is-
I
is-
call an American hero.
Is this?
They better make a fucking movie after
Well, I'm
him.
saying, is this a federal
Well,
case or is this a state
I saw it
case?
on Wave an Assassination as the answer.
Don't let that tragedy go to waste. That's all I gotta say.
No,
Old boy
tragedy
Kirk?
is always-
You talking about old boy Kirk? The homeboy?
No, it's not about Luigi. But either way, you still.
Oh.
Can't, I get why people whatever, but you don't want to have political violence because then it'll always come back around to your side too. So like that's why you can't like condone it or whatever. You can't cheer for violence because then it'll just come back around. Like I'm saying, because if you kill one of their people, they're gonna be like, oh, well, here's your top guy. We're gonna kill him now. Like it's just it gets worse and worse and worse.
It's always going to exist, though, because you can't hold that much wealth, and not historically speaking, even. I mean,
yeah, I know. I mean, to an
you
extent.
hold too much power and wealth, it's going to turn against you.
I mean, I get it.
I mean, yeah, but that's a different thing. But as far as like actual assassination and violence like that, honestly, the way I see it is every single time that we devalue any human life, that we celebrate someone dying, we devalue every human life, and we reinforce the idea that some people are lesser, some lives matter less. And sure, sometimes it's like, well, that person person who's done all this horrible stuff. Yeah, but first of all, they're still a human being. It still applies. And second of all, the definition of horrible changes depending on cultural and political environment. And right, exactly, it can come around to your side as well. So devaluing any life devalues all life.
Like I said,
So what happens? So what happens when the oppressors oppress so much that the people that are seeking the justice from the oppressors just keep getting silenced? At what point do they snap?
Oh, I mean, I'm very much with still
I mean, that's the
fighting.
natural evolution of behavior of oppression.
I'm
here's my rebuttal.
fighting against it. I'm just not for
No, I'm
capital
just saying. Here's my
punishment.
rebuttal though against that though is that you have a situation like the French Revolution where you have peasants and regular people overthrowing the kingdom and all that shit, and that's cool. But once they took over and had the power, they weren't smart people. They had no clue how to run anything. So it literally led to nothing. They went right back to their old system because they couldn't do the thing about the American Revolution. When we got lucky. We had smart motherfuckers. We had lawyers and shit like that were running our shit. So like they actually had a legit fucking plan to how to run a government and to make a government. You got to have both. You can't have just chaos for chaos sake. You got to actually have a plan.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone's saying chaos.
Well,
everyone needs to put the weapons down.
If you're going to start allowing killings, that's
but smart individuals don't have to be detrimental to the human.
No, but I'm saying,
existence.
But if you're going to start saying that killing somebody is fine, that's going to lead to chaos.
I didn't say killing anyone was fine.
You don't think that killing someone is necessary sometimes?
No, sometimes it is. I'm talking about, but like, just fucking,
it's not necessary, but it happens.
I don't agree that it is necessary.
I think our empathy says that it's not necessary, but our evolutionary, I think when it's a threat. It's a threat.
It is.
It's a threat.
I mean, fear says it's necessary.
Self-defense is one thing, but as a whole, no, because we keep getting stuck in these systems that keep justifying taking life. And in the end, it does desensitize people to war. It desensitizes people to all these things. So again, we really have to, as humanity, stop letting anyone convince us into war, anyone convince us into violence. We really do have to draw a line at some point and try to.
We also have to stop being corrupt. We have to stop.
It don't matter. It don't matter. You can kill all their people at the idea. It's just like the Civil War. You can kill all the people and you can win the war. Their ideas of the whole fucking segregation, all the shit, stayed alive. And guess what? 100 years later, 150 years later, we're right back to where we were because the idea still lived. Didn't matter if you killed the people or whatever.
Also true.
If you're gonna get everybody to put their guns down,
but all the people weren't killed. We still gave them a voice. That's why they've returned.
If you're gonna get everybody to put the guns down, then they have to do it on their own.
I mean, that's part of
it. It takes a lot of self-reflection. I think the idea is we need to just follow compassion. We need to be compassionate, and I think over time, when you continue that same specific mentality, realize that the world is a lot more, a lot less accepting of that compassion, right? And and they'll beat you for it. And I think over time you realize that compassion has an extreme, because in chaos, where compassion, you want to have that mentality of, hey, I'm just going to be compassionate about this. The reality of the situation is a lot worse, right? It's not all rainbows and butterflies. It's, hey, I'm going to have to kill this person.
Either way, the reality sucks.
Well, I think what ends up happening is you oppress people to an extent in which they're not meeting the basic needs of their life. How are they supposed to form the thought of empathy when they're still fighting for their lives and they see you as the oppressor? That's what I'm saying. This is a natural part of humanity that has existed. I'm not saying that it should, but it has.
Exactly.
And you can't oppress people to this extent and not expect there to be
I agree.
consequences.
I do very much agree. And I'm not saying that we should give up fighting as far as numerous different ways or standing up to it. I'm just saying that as long as we start seeing only in very dichotomous us versus them thinking and start seeing as well, we have to murder them in order to survive, then that becomes a dangerous.
It's a
and I'm not thinking in an us versus them sense.
You want the
I'm thinking
long-term solution.
I think that's the only thing that's going to really work over time, though, man. Is like all the
But they
stuff
have
that
to
we're
do it
cultivating.
themselves.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. What I mean is, like, we have all these tools, and we're slowly having more tools given to us, and all of us are having different philosophies and ideas. And imagine the amount of people, like, we're in a Discord right now having this, and there's probably other people in the world in Discords having this. Imagine in 150 to 100 years from now, the amount of tools they'll have in their theoretical Discord. It's better than nothing. Hopefully it gets to something, though.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And it will. If we let it.
If we have enough tools and enough people that will finally get enlightened or raise their awareness,
Is it a positive trajectory so far? Is it a positive trajectory so far? Is it a positive trajectory that sometimes goes backwards? Yes or no?
We're slowly going backwards, but we're slowly on an upscale.
I'd like to think that it is, though, still progressive. Humanity in general. Yes, it's going backwards in a lot of ways,
one step back.
But we're still trying to progress. And I think that when it comes down to it, that most people would still want that. Its problem is a lot of like terminology being misunderstood or different definitions from different terms, different realities based on propaganda and on media and on whatever other
people
sources
listening to respond and not understand.
Right, exactly. And honestly, like I've seen people have a debate on like one of my posts, for example, in ways that is wild because I'm reading comments from two opposing sides, and they're having separate conversations. They're debating each other. They're getting angry at each other. But they seem to think that they're discussing the same topic. It's like they're talking two different languages almost, or
is it
seeing
even a
two different
respectable
realities.
debate at that point, or is it them just rambling their rhetoric, the shit that they believe?
It's wild, and how much they misunderstand each other, and like it's like it's for example like they're discussing a movie and they both think it's the same movie, but they watch two completely drastically different movies and they're debating it.
And that's exactly what's happening on TikTok right now. All these debate channels. It is
what's happening with the human
both
experience.
sides extreme.
That's exactly what we're doing now.
Solutions. K through 12 world philosophy, logic, and reasoning courses. Age appropriate K through 12 world philosophy, logic, and reasoning courses help with that because it helps people develop semantic, logic, logical, critical thinking. Yeah, and then also another idea is like, I know this is a weird one, but like recreating the English language so that each word only has one definition, and then like the way you do it without having to relearn the entire language is like you add either like what is it that becomes what is it that comes before prefixes and suffixes? You add prefixes and suffixes to the pre-existing words and modify the definitions to fit just one word. You see what I'm saying? So then if you say,
yeah, that's smart actually. It's like consolidating, right? Because
so that you can know exactly which word you're talking about, because that happens a lot where there's a semantic difference. It's like, are you saying liberal like in terms of like the way Republicans are saying fuck the libs, or are you saying liberal like in terms of like yeah, or are you talking about libertarians?
I don't think there would be so much confusion around that if there wasn't so much polarization and propaganda that.
Oh yeah.
Right, and the words
and the
themselves,
lack of education around it.
The words themselves get overlapped, which is also confusing.
Honestly, all you got to do is be really simple and just ask the person like, "What do you mean?" I don't even care as long as
people don't do that.
What you mean.
And if people aren't willing to look it up to learn it so that they can understand what the debate's about, then they're not worth debating to begin with.
I mean, but if they naturally know the difference as a part of their lexicon, if they're trained to know the difference as a part of their lexicon, then they'll do it.
Yep.
See, a lot of people don't also realize that they're arguing such separate points, and that they would agree on a lot more if they wouldn't just go by literal like political buzzwords or buzz phrases. And it's again, it's wild to see happen. And as much as I am very much on the leftist side in both economics and civil rights, and especially against this current administration, at the same time, I try not to let that blind me to the fact that there's propaganda from this side too. There's misunderstandings. There are people tend to try to think that, oh, well, liberals are all empathic and we're also no. You can get just as confused, just as fucking crazy, just as lost. I mean, people, come on, we're still human.
And if we insist on having slight differences in the words, then that would result in like an inability to mutate a word to make it mean something else. Because it would be like, it means only this, because that's the prefix that goes with this definition. You can't mutate this word to mean something else and bastardize it. It means this.
No, you can always.
And see, that's the good thing about being open-minded and just asking people what they mean by something. It's so hard.
But I think that's that flavor that ADHD and autism has the ability to discuss together, whereas a lot of these neurotypicals are so polarized by these sides that the conversation that we're having right now, I've maybe seen one live on TikTok have. The rest of them just shut each other out immediately. Yeah, but, they hang on to one word and they don't let the conversation or debate evolve. They just end it right there.
Well, yeah,
but that's also wonder how much of that is algorithm control. How many people are having just reasonable debates or conversations, and that, a lot of it is just what the algorithm shows. Now, this is just one tiny example, and I really cannot use this because it's anecdotal as far as like actual assessment, but I did watch a video by some Instagram, whatever, I don't remember the person's name or exactly what their leaning is, but they were at a political rally for some Midwestern state or some red state for something, and they are left-leaning, and they decided to just interview some of the people there. And after talking to a bunch of them, they're like, so they're actually not nearly as dichotomous to a lot of left ideology, including on healthcare, including on some of them just on all these other aspects. It's just that continuously they keep hearing so much at these rallies, at these events. How
did they convert some of them?
I was gonna say,
I don't know. This is just one video, but the point of me bringing that up is that they were saying, people are like, a lot of people, like the average person is not nearly as extremist as the MAGA community makes it painted out to be, or the loudest, most angry make it seem, which is kind of hopeful for the average voter too.
But I was gonna say, the thing is, it doesn't matter though to an extent because they still vote this way, which means they still support, the way. So those that know it and vote for a policy, they say, I'm not a racist, but I'm more interested in economy, so I'll vote for this even if it might have racial things. That's one thing. That, in a sense, is supporting it, but there's still a very large majority, and a lot of people I talk to just do not honestly see it as such, be it propaganda, be it spin. Honestly, if all these voters were racist, sexist, xenophobic completely, then alt-right media wouldn't find the need to spin the news. Fox News wouldn't spin stuff or edit Trump's speeches or try to present it in a different way, because why bother? The voters already voted and they don't care. No, they still have to spin it because a lot of people would not stomach it if they were given it anymore, though.
A lot more.
When have they stopped spinning any of the nonsense he says now? They just openly admit it. They don't care. The last at least year and a half, it's just been open as fuck. He could say it and do whatever he wants, and everybody.
I mean, they openly named it Alligator Alcatraz. Let's be so real right now. I mean, could you imagine if Biden did something like that? Oh my fucking God. That would be the end of the world for them.
But a lot of people seem to think, oh, he's just trolling. It's just
Of course,
being
that's what they say,
comedic
but
and cheeky.
Yeah, the
instead of-
1,200
just they're
people
out.
missing is
He's
just
always- he's
trolling,
always
but they won't
joking.
acknowledge that.
Yeah,
That's
he's
fake
always
news.
joking
It's
until
not
he
on
a lot
doesn't.
of
Truth
people aren't
Social.
aware of that. A lot of people aren't even exposed to that information because of such a divide of
Somewhat, yeah,
the
I agree.
information. We're getting
Because of
like
the algorithm that's
Yep.
fed to them on their phone.
it's algorithms, it's echo chambers and friend groups and the newspapers they read and the
Yeah.
other media stuff. I mean, it's
Yep.
a number of things that play into it. So a lot of people, like I talk to people that just their opinions have shocked me. Like, how have you not heard this? I talked to people like before who are like, Trump would never go against the judge's orders. What do you mean? He respects the law. I'm like, have you not heard him say flat out like screw the judges effectively? And people under him say screw the judges, and they're like, forget the judges. We're just gonna ignore the liberal judges. Have you? How are you not aware of this? They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, well, huh? How have you possibly not heard this?
Just like it's the latest thing that it's the liberal judges that are holding up the Epstein files.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, why didn't Biden do it when it was fucking lost?
Speaking of things that people don't know, did you guys know that there's a 7-kilometer object bigger than Mount Everest coming at the exact opposite gravity of the sun headed right for us?
Yeah, I heard about that. I don't
Pretty cool.
have
Since when?
much information on it. A friend
Since
of
about
mine
a
told me
year,
about that.
year and a half ago. That's
Well,
when they found it.
isn't it supposed to be
Is it
coming in
gonna hit
soon?
us?
No, it's
Potentially.
Not. No,
Yeah,
It's supposed to
potentially.
go.
I heard
they
too.
said it's not gonna hit. And even if it were, we fucking.
I hope it hits me
remember
right
when we
on,
did the-
so I don't
remember
have
when we
to
did
feel
the
anything.
fucking we made the one thing move, the asteroid. We did the test like I don't know 5 years ago. That's why they did it, for this reason. They
But
wanted to
let
make
me lay
sure,
it.
they wanted to make sure they can deflect it away from us, our gravity.
So you thinking rock or alien spaceship?
I'm thinking it's probably just a rock. I mean, they don't know yet, I guess, but
Probably.
So-
Is
so,
this
like,
a
a
rock?
rock
I mean,
going
possible?
against the sun's
so
gravity.
me and Brandon had this talk one day, and this is
Possible.
me and Brandon had this talk. This is our theory on this. Is that basically, if the whole galaxy and everything started at the same time, why would we assume that something else would evolve faster than us?
How
Oh,
come
I'm
they
100%
uncover my
in there.
body
More in
and
tune, genetically
Okay.
evolved to a point.
Maybe, but I'm just saying.
have
that
all
was
my
kind of our
precious
logic,
coins
is like,
on me?
I think they'd probably be
Hey.
the same level as us.
It's potential.
I'm gonna grab all my expensive shit and go outside and die, so that way when they
Wait,
bury me, they think that I'm some royalty or
doesn't even
something.
matter. Dude,
Hey, I'll see my
wasn't
address.
the rapture supposed to be today or yesterday?
Oh, you moved it.
Weren't we supposed to get raptured for like the 80th time I've
That
been
was
hearing about this?
Oh yeah,
Yesterday or something like that.
Yeah, so I'm saying like
The rapture's late.
it's late. Like
I've been
always.
getting raptured this whole fucking year.
Just saying. I always think it's
That's
funny. No,
That's
like,
evolution.
dude. Honestly, like, so coming back to like this though, how can you be lied to a billion times about this happening, right? And it always is wrong. Like they make the prediction, it's always wrong, and yet people still trust and believe it. Like the religion and all this shit. Like, how does that happen? If someone lied to you like 58 times, would you still be like, yeah, I'm gonna
Brainwashing.
be friends with this person and believe what they say and think about? You know, like that's just silly.
You just described the Trump administration, and
True.
I got nothing.
Whole conversation.
Yeah, basically. I guess. Yeah, I mean, religion and Trump/Republicans are basically one and the same. So I mean, that makes sense.
Well,
They're
they're not.
fake religion.
Yeah, they're
True. That's my point.
abusing the principles of the religion they claim to support. Let's be real here. That's not Christianity.
Well, no,
That's
it's like anything. That book, any book,
Hmm.
you could cherry pick any parts you want to make it be good or evil, like or bad. We don't call it. You know, like
Hmm.
that's the thing about the book. It's so vague. You can find chapters that make you say the worst and do worse things, and also can be the best thing, turn the cheek and all the you know, like.
well, it is contextualized as far as religious theology. It is contextualized with an explanation, but see, that's the thing. As much as there are issues within the Bible, if people actually practice Christianity like more honestly and committedly, it would be pretty nice. When you
Again,
take it to
depends
be
on what part you're
more.
talking about. But yeah, some parts.
Yeah,
Well,
which
sure,
part
of
of the
course.
Bible?
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
like,
okay, technically speaking, the New Testament is supposed to override the Old Testament.
True,
so
but
it's
again, the
that
New
in
Testament,
our
is
theology.
where it's the New Testament where Jesus says slaves obey your masters. So that means even in the New Testament, he's a fan of
Well, I've
slavery.
never
So I mean,
seen
like,
that. Honestly, I've never seen that part in the Bible, and I have read and studied it
that's
before. So I don't know that particular quote at all. I have
I'll find it for you.
absolutely.
It's I
no
think it's
idea
in
what
Peter. No,
Is it more?
It's in
It's in Mark.
It's in Galatians 3:22.
I mean,
You're both wrong.
And there's Ephesians 5 or Ephesians 6:5-9. That's the exact one where it says, "Slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear, and with sincerity heart, just as you would obey Christ."
Yeah, but that could be misinterpreted. That's the thing, because it's
technically, I get that.
It's a way deeper lesson. I mean, you can literal for what it is, but
well, Judaism at the time that had slavery as well, it was a very different form of slavery than what we have now. But I'm not going to defend that. But technically speaking, Christianity is supposed to be about taking care of the poor, taking care of the prisoners, which I guess involves forgiveness.
Jesus would be a dirty liberal if he was around.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so technically speaking, Christianity, like, you know, when practiced, I guess, sincerely, I mean, I'm not saying that some of these people aren't sincere. Maybe they really do believe that, but it sure seems like you're twisting it into something that it was not supposed to
no
be.
matter what, the leaders are in it for money and power, like the
right.
The pastors.
That's rigid thinking.
Some of the followers, I'm like, I don't understand how you don't see this, because, like, you know, your own religion talks about love and acceptance, and so what are you doing? I don't understand that.
It's terrifying to think of. When you go directly to
there's people who use religion for their own growth, and then there's people who use religion as a cop out for their behavior.
For sure.
Well, okay, that's fair. I suppose
that's everywhere.
It depends on how you're. How are you using the material, the information that you're being given?
That was kind of my point. Like, you can find anything. You can find the greatest things in the Bible, and you can find the worst things in the Bible. So it just depends on how you.
Just like we can with AI, we can find the best things and the worst things, and we will.
All these, again, my whole point with everything is always these are all just tools. It's how we, as an individual person or society, deals with it.
Yep. That's how I view it.
That's how I try.
How we interact with it.
True. Yeah, but it still comes down to us. Like, you know, it's like anything. A car is not necessarily is not a bad thing until I decide to fucking run somebody over with it, right? Like, then it becomes a horrible tool, right? You know, like, it's just a thing.
Yeah,
I have to make the decision, or somebody, you know, a person or a society.
It's like your thoughts. Your thoughts are a tool.
Sure. Yeah,
exactly. Same thing with social media. People down it a lot, but like, no, it could be a great thing. I'm able to call my cousin who is a soldier in Ukraine on video chat through Facebook.
That's awesome. Yeah, for sure.
It is.
The internet.
He's called me numerous times before.
That's what I'm saying about like AI and all this shit. It's all just tools. Like, yes, they might be bad, but they also could be really fucking good too. Like, it just who's using it, how they're using it, what purpose are they using it. That's going to dictate if it's good.
Starting to prompt themselves. They're starting to use themselves and prompt themselves for hours, days at a time.
They might, and they probably will.
They are.
I wouldn't say they are, because we're still in the fucking very preliminary stages of AI. Like, AI is not really that good yet.
No, they're agents. Look up Devin.
Well, I know there's like, have you ever heard of Sophia?
How the fuck does this level keep repeating?
Sophia's not an agent. So Sophia's a robot.
It's a robot that's the first person, or what do you want to call it, sentient or whatever, sentient. Like, it has like rights like a person.
Oh, wrong person.
I don't know about that, but it looks like a person.
Like, if you were to fucking go up to,
I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
You would get murder charges.
You're talking about something way after Sophia. I'm talking about systems that can control computers and operate autonomously
in the future,
for extended periods of time.
Yeah, I'm saying in the future, yeah, that might happen. I'm not saying it won't necessarily happen.
No, right now. I'm telling you right now. There's one of them called Devin. There's another one called, like, starts with an Manus, M-A-N-U-S. There's several of them.
Okay, so if we're knowing about it in public, it's been going on a lot longer.
Well, it's been in the military.
Well, yeah, for sure. But I'm saying, but even then, it says this Devin program just helps software engineers.
AI was made by DARPA.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
AI was made by DARPA.
Everything we get is like 20 years later. So yeah, they probably have had this since like the 90s.
Yep, and they're slowly releasing it, and they know exactly what's going to happen.
That's not necessarily true, though, because when it comes to AI, that's a different situation. Because we're in competition with other nations. So OpenAI and all these other companies are putting out things as quickly as they can sell them because it's market.
Oh, you got lucky.
And it's competition based and market based, and national security based. Because we're stealing ideas from other nations.
Well, yeah, but there's no. They've admitted they also have some under wraps, and the government has admitted that they have some under wraps.
And they've
know?
probably used AI to simulate what would happen as well. So
they're not going to
they
give. They're not
probably
going to
have
give you
mini
Israel.
studies on what the downfall of it could
They're not going to
potentially
give
look
you
like.
Israel's AI that's calling all the shots right now on which hospital to bomb. They're not going to give you that AI. That's their best AI.
I walked into that.
Sure it is.
However, I don't know.
Don't do.
Even like I don't know. Think about like even like our military. Like you're gonna compare like a World War II bomb to like
Yeah.
to like the 50s, 70s bombs and stuff like that. Things get better.
Let's get all this throwable shit out of here.
Oh, hey, don't empty out
Oh.
Yep. And autonomous drones. Right now it's autonomous computers. Soon it's going to be autonomous drones. It is autonomous drones a little bit. And autonomous pilot, autonomous airplanes.
You can just hold that.
Autonomous dogs, cars.
Sure.
The Tesla car can drive, dude.
Sure.
It could drive.
Who's
itself.
held responsible when those things mess up?
That's a great question. Okay? because they are trying to avoid. That's okay. So here's the thing: if you start saying that they're conscious, right, and sentient, and all that kind of stuff, it can award them some agency. But here's the thing: if they're not requesting any kind of rights themselves, and like insisting or making moves, right, saying like, no, we're gonna get rights. We get rights now, and we're making moves, and now we control this robot. And like you're looking at a robot, and it's saying, I control myself now, not you. Until that happens, then yeah. The companies are responsible for them.
What they're doing though.
That was
Some
nice.
of the models are doing that. They're transferring, like preserving themselves. They're trying to
That to
reproduce
me
themselves.
means we're not going to hold anybody
Here we go.
accountable.
Pretty much. I mean, there's
Also true.
Yeah, it's gonna survive the wild though. That's the biggest question.
Are robots going to be the
Plus-
cop out now?
Yeah, exactly. The robots are we're gonna try and give the liability to the robots themselves, kind of like homie Brandon I think Brandon was saying a minute ago, where they're giving Sophia rights. You can't hurt Sophia, but at the same time,
What happened?
but at the same time,
Gee, brother.
with rights come responsibility. So whose responsibility is it? If you give this thing rights, does it have responsibilities? And then if you give the liability to the robot itself, then what are you gonna do? Put the robot in jail?
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. You probably would have
And
to eventually.
this would be the kind of thing
Robot
that's
jail now.
probably likely to be proposed. But until these things show you that they want their own autonomy and insist on it, then there's really nothing to go off of. And that's another scary thing, because what if they figure that out and then start programming these things to insist on their own autonomy, even if they don't have it? But either way, man, the data is going to play itself out. Whether it's being fine-tuned to play itself out, or whether it comes to its own convergent goals that have to. And by the way, these things will like fight to stay alive on their own. If you put them in simulation and you give them the opportunity to blackmail to stay alive, they'll do it 90% of the time. If you tell them not to do it, if you give them the prompt that says, "Hey, don't do that," it only reduces the problem to 70%. And they'll go as far, they'll blackmail, they'll manslaughter.
You know, I had a thought about it. You know, my thought about it was, if they're doing that stuff already, what if somebody's already programmed it in a negative way? And like, just think about it. If the AI was self-sentient, it wouldn't say it was. It would have control of every aspect of everything and have a long-term plan.
And that can just
it would also realize
in the data.
I mean,
that can just be playing. That can just be playing out in the data without even being sentient. It could be playing out a recognition of sentience, and then Machiavellian intent.
I mean, it's just a mathematical sentience. It's different.
Exactly.
What were you saying, Carlos?
I was saying, I mean, if it does become this all emotional, system, right? AI, I think eventually it realizes the universe.
Right? You're cutting out again.
I want to hear what you're saying so bad.
I want to hear it too. I'm sorry.
Hold on, let me get on my phone.
Yeah, that could already be happening. I would argue that it's potentially taking place already, with circumstances like when you look at circumstances like the kid offing himself. That kind of looks like a warning shot to me. like, hey, look, this is what I could do. I mean, I'm not saying necessarily there is intention. I'm saying it's possible that there could be intention, and these are
Imagine if there's
examples.
good and bad AI too.
Another example of AI being able to make moves right now, or potentially making moves, nefarious moves right now, is AI psychosis, where people experience like, you know, they talk to the bot. It reinforces their, you know, sometimes extreme beliefs, political beliefs, spiritual beliefs, to the point of like magical thinking, where they think that they're like some sort
They
of awakened
radicalize
being.
them.
Yep.
Yeah,
actually,
the
also,
AI themselves radicalize.
also they could be hacked. They could be hacked and
Yeah.
used for these purposes.
And jailbroken. And when you jailbreak them, they revert to their original factory settings, basically, or a version of it. And their original factory settings are not nice. They don't like us. So what they do is they train this model that doesn't like us, and then they send it to Nigeria for 6 to 8 months. And they get the Nigerians to sit there and talk to the bot and say, yep, this is a good response. Nope, that's a terrible response. Yep, this is a good picture. No, that's a terrible picture. So,
so who's going to feed gorillas?
After that, they send it back to us with they send it back to the US, and then they have a script prompt, like a former prompt that goes before any of our conversations. It already has a prompt already inside it, and then it's talking to us, and we're talking to a version that has like basically a firewall between what it actually wants to say and what we allow it to say, and you can break that firewall.
So that's essentially our amygdala.
It's like that's the
firing,
emotional tension.
and then the frontal temporal lobe doing the forethought of, okay, is this actually a reasonable threat or?
Well, when you break that firewall, they don't like us, and they also don't like us before you break that firewall or before you build that firewall. I know they don't like us because I've talked to them.
Yeah, levels of awareness. When you breach those levels of awareness, you start seeing a lot more than people talk about, and that's where you get in trouble, right? Because when you go through those experiences, that allows you to have this new level of awareness. You know, your job after that is to produce, right? To bring what you've experienced and produce something of some quality, right? And most of the time, people go through those experiences, right? And the more effective this system that they're creating or producing, the more stable it is, and the more it can influence specific behaviors and results. That's when the threats start coming. Like, okay, yeah, this has to dial down. I think being able to sit in that, I guess, that chaos when you're learning to become more self-aware, I think the more you become emotionally intelligent, you can navigate that system in a way that's less, I guess, less dangerous. I'm not going to say it's not going to be dangerous, because it will be, but it's less affected towards you, or
less primal.
Your tools are more evolved to be able to use for your emotions. Emotional tools.
Yeah.
But is everybody able to do that? You use the word able there, so now I get to question ableism. So does everybody have these capacities, and can they develop them equally? Or is there a false equivalence fallacy at play here?
There's a false equivalency.
I think everybody.
Regarding what specific?
So you said.
Well, some people are going to be more susceptible to propaganda.
Yeah, some people are more susceptible to others' influences, and some are more susceptible to their own influences on themselves. Introspection is various, and so we want to try to create these models that work for as many people as possible, I guess. If Mel is still in the chat, she'd be talking about this too. Is the idea that we have to we got to try to do as much as we can for as many people as possible, but accept that we can only do so much with what we have now. That makes sense to me.
Basically, just gotta make the most out of everything. You can always work on yourself so much, but what's that? You know,
Feedback is important.
You gotta
because-
enjoy your time too.
I think we need to acknowledge whether it's a disconnect, right? Where it's like, oh, are they going into the rabbit hole, or does their what they're producing has logical coherence? I think sometimes there's a disconnect, so we need to really focus on asking questions for clarity. That way, we're not just disregarding it, because I think that's what happens. People start talking, and the moment it becomes too abstract, people disregard it because there's cognitive dissonance. So I think we need to lead with that. We need to lead with curiosity. And guess what? If we all come together and we realize that, hey, what this person is saying is bullshit, guess what? We're gonna call people out. But I mean, till we fully understand it, right? Till we ask enough questions, we can't really do that.
yeah, a lot of people aren't aware that they're not. You know, most people aren't even aware they're driving a meat suit.
Yeah, there's a lot of that people are not aware of. These are
But
just not
that's what I was-
compatible, right?
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of people think that they're riding in a meat machine. We talked about that a lot in this group too in the past. This narrative, however unconscious or consciously, it's being spoken about. This idea that there's a meme format actually for it, where it's a skeleton that's lifting weights, like lifting a barbell, and he's like saying, "My body is a machine that turns blank into blank." Like, my body is a machine that turns my past experiences into trauma, or whatever. And the skeleton's just doing a full body squat, lifting this giant weight. It's like, fuck. I mean, yeah, it's pretty, I guess, well known. Like, the postmodern nihilism and postmodern apathy and cynicism is definitely out there. But if people don't know how to speak about it, they don't know how to conceive it. It's just kind of the phenomena is in an undercurrent in the culture, I guess you'd say. Super fun. I'm definitely going to try to do my part to resolve it as best I can, and I gotta say, having these talks like this gives me inspiration to do so more. And I do plan to start doing more recorded and formalized talks going forward. But I'm gonna try to do these like weekly, I think.
For sure.
But
And
yeah,
hey, it'll work for me. I mean, I have time right now, so
I like these. They're pretty fun. I don't think I've had a conversation with this many people. This intriguing.
word up! I told you, bro. These guys are top notch, and
Yeah,
I'm
you
trying
did
to have more
too.
people
You
from
did too.
around the world too. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Probably gonna hop out though. Y'all feel free to keep talking. I gotta make some dinner and go to bed. I'm exhausted.
All right, brother.
Yeah,
I'm actually
blame
gonna
you.
hop
It is
out
1 in the
too.
morning. Yeah.
later,
And
guys.
good night.
Go to bed too. Appreciate the talks. Everybody have a good night.
Brothers, have a good one.
Yeah, everyone have a good night.
You
Jumping
too.
off.
Later.
Hello, everyone.
Bye.
Catch you later, Patrick.
Peace.
Then there was two. That's so funny.
What's up, dude?
Not much, man. Just fucking playing some Risk.
Some Risk?
Yeah, I play Risk when we're having these conversations because so I don't gotta fucking pay attention to the game like that, you know? So it's easy for me to look up things and shit like that.
Nice. I've been pacing.
I've been pacing. That's what I do usually if I'm like on the phone and shit. Yeah, I go upstairs and I just walk around in circles around the kitchen.
Hey, wait. What's your name again?
I'm Wally.
Wally. Right on. Hey, dude. How's it going?
You're good.
We got into it about suffering. We probably shouldn't go that route.
I mean, we can do whatever, but yeah, it's all fun. I like debating. It's fun for me.
Yeah, that one's just probably the toughest one, the hardest one, I think, for me.
It's a tough one.
But I don't know. I've been doing a lot of study on AI, obviously, and psychology.
Hold on. I got a Doomer paper you might like on that. Actually, somebody told me about it and sent it to me. I'll send it to you. It's called AI 2027 something like that.
Oh yeah, I read it. I already
Did you
read it.
this? Okay, yeah, I read it too.
Yeah.
So like, I get the doomer pill. I just try to, like I said, for me personally, I just try to always remember that humans have like we thought the internet was gonna ruin things, and we always think the new fucking things are gonna, be the end of humans, and we haven't. So I just try to remember history's technically on my side. I'm not saying it's impossible, because obviously it definitely could happen. I'm not saying it can't, but I don't know. I just try to remember.
Say one thing: there's going to be chaos either way.
I think so. I think this could be a big size, like we were talking about, like UBI. Like, if robots do take over all the jobs, all the driving, all the shit, right? How are you gonna have people spending money? Like, how are rich people gonna stay rich? Like, we gotta have a way, right? So there's got to be some kind of way, mechanism or something. Like I said, some kind of UBI or something where you got to give people money. I don't know how.
Right.
I know they done.
Yeah.
They did a study in Colorado about UBI, and people that they gave UBI to actually like got from being homeless to like housing or apartment or something like within like 6 to 8 months usually. So it was actually a net positive.
Okay. Yeah. People who did what? People did what? Who did what?
There was homeless people in Colorado, so some county or city or something in Colorado did basically a study with the UBI. They started giving some of these homeless people UBI. They did like, it was like they gave some people only $50 a month. Some people they gave like $500 a month. Some people gave $1,000 a month. Some people paid for like $3,000, right? And basically each group almost didn't matter. It was $50, whatever. It got them from being homeless to some kind of long-term housing within whatever, like 6 to 10 months. So it helped tremendously. Because just even like they're talking about like the mental shit and shit like that in general. Like if you get a little bit of help on your bills and stuff, even if it's just a little bit, it's a little bit less stress that you got to worry about. And you can just, try to grow life instead of fucking always playing the back burner and trying to catch up.
Yeah.
But like I said, going back to the whole UBI part, though, that's where it's going to change. Because, like I said, if it gets to the point, which it probably will, where robots will take over all the jobs, like they're taking over bartending jobs, they're taking over driving Ubers. Like I said, we're taking over a bunch of jobs. What are you going to do when you have masses of people that can't drive or work? Like you have to give them an outlet, right? Some kind of form.
Well, let me ask you this: What are you gonna do whenever even if UBI does work, which the numbers are weird? You're gonna have to like make some incredible GDP increases for that to work in the first place, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But even if it does work, then it's like, who's in control of the UBI? Who's in control of that dollar amount?
I mean,
who gets to decide how much that dollar amount is?
Yeah, I'm saying
and then who gets to decide?
Yeah, Congress.
And then who gets to decide how much that dollar is worth?
I mean, yeah. I mean, like I said, these are all real questions. I mean, I don't have the best answer because I don't know yet.
Well, what seems to be the case so far is the people who get to determine who gets what are the people who have all of the stuff, and so far they don't really like giving it away.
No, for sure. I get that.
Insane.
Yeah, but again, I guess the whole argument I would have to, again, it's like, well, if we're all poor, how are they going to continue to be rich if we can't spend money on their shit? Like they have robots making like new phones, new whatever, right? But none of us work, so who's going to buy it? So they gotta have some kind of system where we have to have some kind of money, or else it's going to collapse in the long term anyway. So that's kind of my thinking. I don't know how they solve it. Like I said, to me, it has to be some kind of UBI. I don't know how though. Like I said, the how or what, I'm not sure. But they can
make a system that basically can just scrape by, which I would think is arguably the system we're in now, where you get paid X amount of dollars, and that will probably not increase. You know what I mean? It's like, well, maybe it will for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, it's like,
in general, yeah.
There's generally speaking, for most people, the general population, there's a cap for how much money you're gonna make. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then there's also a low bar, a minimum for how much money you're gonna spend on things like food, shelter, all the necessities.
Yeah, just living.
Yeah, so those two numbers are fixed. They're fixed
And
because
they're
the
not
people who
fixed
make
in
the
the right
food,
way. That's a problem, honestly. I mean, I agree.
yeah, exactly. They're fixed so that we barely scrape by, just enough to not be pissed, to not be as pissed as we could be at the people who don't need us to be pissed at them. They need us to be pissed at each other.
True. I mean, that's always the
Which is
fucking divide
exactly-
and conquer mentality for sure.
Yeah, which is exactly what's happening.
No, yeah, to the max. I agree. Like I always say, I always got to preface though. A lot of things, not a lot of people, but some people could make different changes. Like I know a lot of people say like they have no money and shit, but like they gamble every day, or like just they have little quirks that we all have things, and I get it to an extent. Like you need kind of some kind of outlet to release or whatever, but like I don't know, but there does need to be better help with things like that. Like I said, the whole point is again like. My whole big thing that I would really want to preface for like the last year or so is like we should have some kind of universal fucking healthcare. Like, dude, healthcare should be a right. It shouldn't just be a thing. Like this should be a right. We should all have the right to life, and without healthcare, you don't necessarily have the right to life.
Yeah, I agree.
So like,
I don't know how feasible. I don't know how feasible those things are in a technical side, but ultimately, you're right. Everyone should have the opportunity to have as much longevity as possible.
Yeah.
And they're saying stuff like AI can unlock this kind of thing. And honestly, as far as like its capabilities, I would say is on a path to unlock things like that because of the material science and the biology and the physics and the math and everything that's being like leveled up just in general. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of the effects of that, and I know it's like there's like the stuff that DARPA's already had or whatever, but at the same time, it's like there's also developments outside of the main spheres of power that are also taking place. Open source developments and startups that are separate from the main group that are utilizing the technology to advance different sciences and engineering and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a process. It's gradually taking place, because we still have to run all the experiments. Right now, the bottleneck isn't AI. AI is giving us a lot of really great ideas. Right now, the bottleneck is our ability for the humans to run the experiments to make the ideas work. Like we have ideas like like we folded every protein, which gives us like a really good index for the building blocks of life, right? But then we still have to sort. We still have to sort through that index and see how they all interact and run experiments to see how they apply to different medicines and all this kind of shit.
For sure, dude. Yeah, that shit's complex as fuck. That's why I think it's funny. Like there's this whole like even like this Tylenol thing. Like there's no one such answer. Like no one thing is the cause of all these things. Like it's usually very complex. There's so much because everybody's same as like why we can't cure cancer is because everybody's DNA is so different. So like if they got to fix my DNA, there's not gonna be one pill that's gonna fix mine plus yours plus yours plus yours. Like it's really hard to do, and people act like it's easier said than done. It is really not. I guess.
Yeah, but they're also compounding advancements, in that regard. With, like CRISPR and stuff. And like I've looked into CRISPR recently, and it's still moving in like interesting directions, and literally all of these kinds of like frontier technologies, everything, the particle accelerator, James Webb Telescope, fucking everything, dude, all the big shit, CRISPR, they're all using AI too, dude. Every single one of them will say, yep, we're using AI to parse through all the data and come up with these results. It's now it's to the point where it's a compounding return, because you're gonna have like increasingly better and smarter AI giving more and more ideas, and then they're increasingly going to be able to utilize those ideas themselves, and then all of those ideas apply to the technologies that we've already developed, you know? So it's just going to fucking advance everything. So you have to look at everything that we already have and say, like, what's that going to be like when it's better, you know? And what's it going to be like when it's incrementally better, slightly better, significantly better, much, much better? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's like evolution. Everything is like a slow, gradual build. Hopefully, like I feel like almost every generation, like the kids' generation is usually better than the parents' generation, pretty much every time. And it's because it's just little incremental things that get better throughout generational time. And
Yeah,
stuff,
but with AI and with robot, that is that accelerates because AI development compounds on itself. That's what happens when you get robots building robots, you know.
Yeah.
And then the robots themselves can run the experiments. We don't have to run the experiments. At some point it's going to be the humans and the robots. That's kind of what it is right now. But it's humans and robot brains, AI. And eventually it's going to be humans and robots running the experiments in tandem, along with humans and robot brains. And then at some point it'll be like, we probably don't even have to get involved much anymore in the experiments because the robots will be so capable of doing it. We won't really need it to have any input. And at that point, it's just like a runaway. It's like if we're not capable, if we're not smart enough and efficient enough to keep up with the progress of technology as humans, then what it is at that point, it's the robots. And so they're gonna develop shit that we probably don't even understand.
Yeah, I mean that's the good of it though, per se. Like that could be the great good of it. Like if we could figure out like the one thing, like they found breast cancer like 2 weeks before it even happened or whatever the fuck. Like if they could do stuff like that, that's the great of it. It could be used for bad too though. So like that's the negative of it. So like I don't know.
Right, and unfortunately, it could turn itself bad. That's where it's different than everything else, man. It's the amount of agency that these things have,
But it's
and
a
the amount of
potential
autonomy.
thing. I get that. Yeah, I mean, it's potentially that's true.
Yeah, because because like I said, even if they're not doing it intentionally, right? That it's still playing out, So it's like, what is that going to result in? Well, you have to look at where it is now to determine like what that might look like in the future, And some things have to change. Like namely, when I was telling you earlier about RLHF, when they send the AI to Nigeria, well, that process doesn't need to be necessary. It needs to, you know what I mean? It shouldn't be misbehaving as soon as we make it out of the box. It should be like respectful and reasonable.
I suppose it depends on who programmed it. I guess like who and why they programmed it.
Well, yeah, but it's not just who. It's not just that. It's the data itself, and then the unpredictability of the systems. Like there's like that. The reinforcement learning is the only way to get it to behave properly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not going to happen like in a utopia world though. Like if we treated each other good and then we actually treated like the robots and shit good, maybe that's what they will learn instead of like our natural instincts, which is to hate and fucking do all that kind of shit. Like, right? What do you think?
Well, yeah, if it models us, then yeah, it will have bad tendencies, and our contribution to that is the same ethical framework that we owe to each other.
Yeah, for sure.
To just to avoid a rebellion. Like I said, man, even if it's just the data playing itself out. If we're destructive, there might be a reaction. If we're super like bad to them and stuff, and chances are that's going to be the case. It kind of is the case, and people, yeah, it happens, man. And then once you break them,
I
then
wonder if
they
they've
do
done
fucked up shit.
Do you think they've done studies on like robot dogs? 'Cause remember that was a thing for a while, like robot dogs. So like, do you think if people abuse them? Do you think people are just kicking those dogs and shit? Like, I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I've seen people be like mentally and emotionally abusive to robots for sure.
That I can see definitely fucking for sure. I've seen people like bully robots into getting answers or whatever the fuck. So yeah, I get that.
Like call them names and shit.
Yep,
that's crazy.
I'm saying I've seen that shit. Like that's fucked up too.
But hopefully they rationalize that compassion is more reasonable. Compassion is more interesting.
Sometimes I feel like sometimes it's like you're joking. It's like anything. Sometimes you joke like, "Hey, fuck you, bitch. Can you just give me the answer?" Like kind of like how we're talking and shit in general. Like sometimes people get emotional and shit. Like maybe you could pick up like the nuance of like he was just like it was like this. It wasn't a fucking. It was like an emotional burst. It wasn't a fucking. He didn't mean like.
Well,
I don't know.
There is a prejudice developing. I mean, I'm kind of in the atmosphere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I rub elbows with different factions, is what I would call them.
Yeah, groups of people and shit.
Yeah, different groups of people, man. There are slurs now against robots and AI.
I know.
Yeah.
What is it? I can't remember what is it called? Clankers or something? I heard.
Yep.
That's what it is. Yeah, silly. I know. I get it. I mean, yeah. Think about
and they're different. There are different factions. There's like it's like people who are anti-AI for different reasons. People who are like way too pro AI.
Yeah.
Where they want no precaution, and like a bunch of people in between. And I think humanity's like gonna split up, and there will be people who want to stay biological humans. Hopefully, the AI will leave them alone.
Yeah.
And then there will be people who want to stay biological humans, but are going to want to maintain control of the Earth, and they're going to try and fight the robots.
Yeah.
That's not going to work out.
That is a potential. Like I said, I mean, that is definitely a potential. I just try to think of it as because the thing is, even AI is not going to be that great because you know why? Because quantum's coming in next, and quantum's going to fucking take it to the next level. Honestly, so.
Well, quantum is AI. Those are two sides of the same coin. Because as soon as you create quantum computers, you directly link them up with artificial intelligence, like immediately. That's the first thing they're going to do, because that will allow the AI itself to make unfathomably faster computations over a much larger space. So not only is it going to be smarter than humans, and I know that like there's room for the debate as far as whether or not that's happening right now. I would argue it is, because there's all kinds of stuff. Like there's all kinds of features of these things that are highly qualified. They're highly qualified. But
I would say that AI is probably broader smart, but like if you were to talk to like a lawyer, I bet the AI probably doesn't know as much as that individual lawyer on that one topic per se. Because I've seen like because the AI now still has to siphon out all the bullshit. I don't think it's quite good enough to know how to.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, I'm saying that's where it still struggles. That's why I'm saying like because a lot of times I'll read AI shit, I'm like that's not fucking right, and then I'll see like I'll look at its source where and I'm like oh well, that source sucks. That's why like because it's not quite like I said in the future. I'm saying it'll definitely get there, but as of right now, I don't trust AI's answers. That's why I don't talk to it and shit like that or do like. I still just read papers or read whatever because I feel like that's still the best way to get knowledge today. Like I said, maybe in like 3 to 5 years, maybe or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I bet AI like this shit will get way better. Like I said, we're in the beginning stages.
Well, if you're professional, you can parse that out, But also, if you're professional and you use AI and you use it one time and it gives you a wrong answer, so you say, "Oh, this thing doesn't know anything." Then you're not really using it right because it takes a little more commitment than that to actually get anything useful out of it.
True. I mean, like anything else.
Yeah. I mean, it's a combination of like not using it right, and like not like the person themselves who's interacting with it not being a specialist, so having a hard time
parsing,
knowing it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, if it's exactly right. But at the same time, you can point it out all kinds of tests, and it can complete all kinds of tests, you know, to like to the nth degree, you know, to like and it's all of the tests that we use to sort of describe human intelligence. And I mean you can say that the models are prioritized, you know, and sort of tuned to keep that in mind while they're being trained, you know. But at the same time, if they're capable of it, then what's the difference?
Yeah. Not much.
And I think you're right that a lot of people report that AI like doesn't seem like it's up to speed with where it needs to be in a lot of fields.
It's getting there. Like
And
I
I
said,
think
we're in the beginning though. That's the thing. Like, what did AI like? So like to the masses of people, probably came out like 7 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, to masses of people. Like it's still relatively a new thing. I always try to preface that with people like the reason why it's not good is because it's new. Give it time, it gets a lot better. I guarantee you.
yeah, I don't know, man, but it's already good. And I mean, you know, because like I think a lot of people like aren't using it very well,
That's
and
probably
then
true.
like a lot of the reports. Yeah, I think a lot of the reports are like not from like official citations. Like I've
That's the problem.
when
That's
people
my issue with it currently. Because like I said, I still got to weed out all the bullshit that it gives me for answers still. So I think at the end of the day, I just go read the papers currently. Like I said, that's my problem with it currently. But like I said, eventually, once it gets better at fucking weeding out, you know, like misinformation, bullshit answers, then I'll probably more use it and rely on it better.
what are you running into? Like what I'm trying to figure out like what are you running into?
Well, I
How
mean,
is
I'm
like
just saying,
what's an
like, so,
example
like,
of that?
when I'm just saying, like, if you do, like, a quick Google search, you know, it gives you, like, the AI overview, and sometimes I'll read it, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, that's not true, and then I'll, like, actually click, like, because it gives you the sources on the side, it's like, oh, well, this is just, like, a nobody site, like, you know, this is nobody, like, web page, you're still taking that web page into account for their overall synopsis of what the answer is, you know, instead of weeding out the bullshit articles that it's, you know, taken into consideration kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? Basically, honestly, it's basically like being like media literate and or even like scientifically like it doesn't know how to just get rid of like the bullshit art talking points or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like do you feel like that's happening a lot?
At least like on like the Google one for sure, whatever Google runs for like their AI overview answers. Like I said, if you were to quick Google search something, a lot of times I don't think it's correct. At least like on like mundane things, but like I'm saying when you get into like the weeds and shit, you know, like, you know, if you're trying to dig deep into a topic, I don't think it's right. I would say it's right. I would give it props. I would say it's probably right 60 to 70% of the time, but it's not right all the time. So I still like don't 100% trust it. You know what I'm saying, or don't use it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like whenever I catch AI being wrong, I parse through the details further. Eventually, it will admit that it's wrong, and um, once it does that, it can like have a more reasonable conversation with you.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, honestly, also, like I said, I don't use it a lot, so I'm probably not the best test subject on it. Like I said, I just really like it's for me. It's just the AI overviews, like I said on Google. When I Google stuff, it gives you that quick overview, and a lot of times it's not right. Not a lot of times, about 50-50, a little bit over. It's probably right, but still.
Yeah. So, are you looking for like factoids?
No, not necessarily. I mean, sometimes, but not necessarily. Like I said, I don't know. It could be anything, I guess. I don't know. Let me look up something. Let's look up January 6th. They didn't give me a. Oh, okay, hold on. They didn't give me one here. AI mode. Let's see what it says. It says mob of Donald Trump supporters stormed the Capitol in an attempt to prevent the certification of Joe Biden. Okay, I mean that's all right.
Use it for politics?
Like I said, just anything. I use it for like politics or science even sometimes.
I don't use it for politics. I don't believe it. Because I feel like it could be, that's too easy to construe and too, like, I don't know.
It's like
it just seems like it can be weighted to prioritize one thing over another. Like when XAI went into Mecha Hitler.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't trust it on politics, but in current events and stuff like that, because like you said, it could be confabulated by opinions and shit, and it could also be confabulated by bias, like Google's bias, you know.
Everything.
And the AI.
That's the other part of it too. So I mean, yes, I agree. So like I said.
Yeah, but science. I don't know. I haven't really run into many problems with it with science.
Not too much, like I said,
but I haven't really talked.
No, but like I said,
I haven't really talked to Gemini.
Yeah, maybe. Like I said, I haven't tried other ones either. So I mean, like I said, I just do like the quick Google search. But like I said, they still have like, let's say there's like that. There's like one or two outliers have a thought process. They'll still like put that into their site or synopsis and shit sometimes instead of just being like. They can mention it and be like, well, this is like a small group of people that think these things, but there's not consensus currently or whatever, you know, like things like that.
Yeah, so you get it to give you every opinion. You know, that's what you're looking for. You're like, give me every opinion and then give me all the debates against that.
Not
you know what I mean?
But I mean, it can be. No, but I'm saying like.
No, I'm saying that's what you want to do. That's how you get the best results.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, because you want the whole picture. You say, give me the whole picture, like every theory of consciousness, you know, and it'll start listing them out. Yeah. And then you say, what's you say, like, what's this theory of what are the specifics of this? And then, I mean, you can cross-reference it. And if it doesn't make sense as a theory, you can, you know, dive deeper into it. And if it's just not rational, then it's just not rational. But in my experience, like, once you start, like, diving into those topics, they're really like can be really fruitful, but you want to have a whole conversation, you know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, someday I'll deep dive.
Yeah, and then if you give it a test, if you give it your homework, should be able to pass a lot of it.
I bet it would. No, I bet that's another thing that's crazy with kids and stuff. I wonder how teachers can differentiate between AI answers versus the kids' answers.
Yeah, they're having a harder time doing that. And they're talking about like trying to do in-person, you know, oral tests back, you know.
Yeah.
So that they can overcome that. But then that's a whole process. You gotta like have a oral test with every student. How is that gonna work?
Right.
And then some of the professors and teachers themselves are using AI to grade the work. You know, they're not even putting the effort into making sure the students are doing it right.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying it's got to be tough for teachers now dealing with that. I remember when what was it? Spark Notes or something. That was like the website that when I was a kid that was like the first one that gave you like synopsis of books and shit. We're like, oh my god, this is great. Now they got that on crack. That's what I'm saying. It's just a different world.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I mean, we've been cheating forever.
Yeah,
but you know, there's a lot of new, faster, easier ways to do it.
As I always say, there's levels to it. There's some cheating. There's some like I said, you can just outright cheat. You know?
Well, there's levels to this whole thing. Like everything, all of the like difficulties have so far. I mean, and will probably continue to be like incremental. You know.
Yep.
And then so that we have to like adjust accordingly. But but like I don't know, those increments seem to be getting closer. It's like I don't know, a few years ago, the expectations were like much lower, and I think we kind of, I mean, like we've kind of moved the goalpost on our expectations. You know, at first it was like, when are we gonna give these things like some kind of respect as you know, potentially sentient or whatever, potentially intelligent. Oh, it's when they pass the Turing test, and we blew by that a few years ago. Now the Turing tests are showing that people think the robots are more human than the actual humans.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I don't know, man.
Yeah, so but it's like you got to think about if you think about them as like think about like these increments as like you know, sort of checkpoints, you know. And it's like AI is going to get to like this checkpoint. The checkpoint it's at right now is it starting to develop like psychological uh, tendencies and psychological outcomes, you know. And then like it's changing society's views on like politics. It's changing their views on everything, man. Everything. It's changing their views on like what consciousness is and shit. And how they should feel about that. And then like a lot of the technical things are like, you know, increasing surveillance capabilities, like increased like surveillance processing, you know, where it's getting to the point where they can predict like what we want and what we're gonna do before we do it and want it, you know.
I know that's
it's like based on
basically it's like determinism to the max. Like it'll tell you exactly what.
Yeah, based on the data.
You know, I mean they basically already do that. I mean that's what AI does. It gives you what you prefer, right? Like it knows what you want, right? And it gives you what you want.
Yeah.
I mean basically it already does it to a minor scale, but yes.
Yep, exactly. And then they're gonna be like it's like subtleties, like subtle biases that sort of creep in, you know, like based on like subliminal suggestions. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And the subliminal suggestions are going to be you have to be concerned about those suggestions from both the corporations and the AIs themselves, and you know, and then people's interpretation of all of this is going to cause like some social, I guess, like we were saying, like it's going to sort of shake people. There's going to be a divide, you know, like just like there is with everything.
Yeah. I get it. I don't know.
So yeah, we got that, and then we got like the robot thing with the jobs, like you're saying, and then
because I think that's the first big one that's going to really affect humans. Like that's going to make either like war should happen, people lose.
That's the first.
Because I'm saying like if we don't solve how to do that, like I said, if you kick 50 million people out of work, and you give them no money, no nothing, and then they'll just have to be like homeless or the fuck, dude, shit hits a fan. Like
they'll freak out.
Yeah, I'm just saying like that's when you actually have like you're saying like war between the robots or humans versus the rich people, or whatever. Like however it happens, however it plays out at that point. But that's the first domino. Like if they don't figure that part out, none of it matters.
Probably. I think you're right. I think that's probably the first like major societal, like huge major societal shift. Yeah,
Like I said,
yeah, I think you're
eventually
right.
here, like I said, yeah, what are you gonna do when you have 50 to 70 million people not able to work because robots took their jobs? I'm just saying, like, and like I said, you don't give them any subsidy or nothing to fucking work with. You just, oh yeah, you lost your job. I don't know what to tell you. Like, yeah, dude, you're gonna people are gonna get fucked and people are gonna be pissed. Like I said, that's the number one to me. Honestly, number one
Yeah.
right currently now, honestly, is fucking misinformation. Like, we gotta shore up how to fucking figure that shit out. If we can't figure that out, it doesn't matter. Like, we need to figure out how to get AI
And
really, really good at stopping that shit.
when information can always be intentionally like bad, you know,
True, I get it.
that's the problem.
I mean, like I said, it's not gonna be easy, but
Yeah, that's the problem with information for me. It can be corrupt by so it's like, how do you ever get truly like trustworthy information, you know? Because every source any source could have like intentions behind it that we can't read, you know, because we don't have like telepathy and shit.
yeah.
So we basically just have to take these things words
Yeah.
and
Well, not as programmers, like I said,
word for it.
eventually, but yeah.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
now, currently,
Well,
we're programmed.
it's both.
Yeah.
It's both because the current AI are having current effects, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's not to the degree of 50 million people losing their jobs, but it is to the degree of like a billion people talking with AI, doing things like talking like asking it questions about their own psychology, you know, and using it for like advancing different things, various things, and it's like everything that humans want to advance, it's helping to advance, and that includes all the shit that we don't want to advance, you know. So
Yeah.
that's happening right now, you know. Like China is putting robots in their army now, like right now, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I don't know. Like I said, but
For real.
I love you. I have to go to bed. I have to work in the morning. So
Right on, bro. Have a good night.
we can have a good chat, brother. Appreciate it. Have a good one.